The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is going to be, when I tell you guys, this is going to be a bit of a crazier live than usual. It's going to be a bit of a crazier live than usual. So before I get into what it says in the title, and before I get into what exactly it is I know that a lot of people in boxing really don't know at all. Let me just say this. Yesterday, I was literally sitting here in my room. I was sitting on my little beanbag chair. I was playing my new PlayStation 2 that I just bought recently. Shout out to the fine folks at Game Island, out here in Miami, a top video game store. I was over here playing like Max Payne. I just bought Max Payne, classic game. I never played it before. And I got a phone call yesterday from, I'm not going to say from who, but I got a phone call from someone very reliable, someone who's very, very close to the PBC side of things. And he pretty much told me what the hell is going on with this fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So listen, I'm not going to read any comments. I'm not going to really read any comments right away because I have to get through all the details. Once I get through all the details of everything that I was told yesterday, you guys can, I'll read the comments. But listen, you guys can choose to believe me or not believe me. That's okay. I'm not really a guy who breaks news, but the person that called me yesterday was very legitimate. So you can choose to believe me or not believe me. Take with this information and do with it what you want. But this is the reality of Crawford versus Spence. Now, I know Dan Rayfield had that tweet that came out recently, and he said that he stated that Terence Crawford or Errol Spence is penciled in for November the 12th. And I would say there's like a 40% chance of this fight happening because there's still two really big, important dominoes that got to fall for this fight to happen. So let's get into it, man. Let's just get right into the nitty gritty. I see my picture's a bit choppy. I don't know if I'm not entirely sure if if you all can hear me. If y'all can hear me, let me know in the comments because my picture, I don't know why the internet's tripping out where I'm at. But so look, for those that know, for those that don't know, this is the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is there's been a couple offers made to Terence Crawford already. 2 offers actually. All right, now the first offer that PBC, Al Heyman, and all the fine folks over there made to Terence Crawford was it was actually not a 1-fight deal. It wasn't like a direct deal for the Errol Spence fight. It was actually a 3-fight deal. It was a 3-fight deal. The 3-fight deal wasn't for as much money as you would think. It was for $8 million in total. So if it's $3 million, if it's 3 fights and the fights and it's $8 million per 3 fights, then you would figure probably the Spence fights, about $4-5 million guarantee, probably a $4 million guarantee, because that's right around where Crawford normally gets his money. Like the Kell Brook fight, he got a $3.5 million guarantee. A $4 million guarantee would just put him above the Brook fight and $2 million under the Sean Porter fight, right? So I guess Crawford didn't like those numbers, that offer, right? So then the negotiations continued. And right now, where we're at, just so you guys know, right now with where we're at, Terence Crawford has been offered. He's made a second offer by PBC, and that offer is, as it says in the title, that offer is 3 fights for $14 million. Now, for the Spence fight, just the Spence fight, from what I was told by my source, it's going to be an $8 million guarantee for the Spence fight, which would, if you do the numbers, it would put him. That would be $2 million higher than the Sean Porter fight because that was a $6 million guarantee, and the Kell Brook fight was a $3.5 million guarantee. So, those are the numbers you can go off of. Now, I don't know if Terence likes that figure because the fight's not, official. Maybe he accepted it, maybe he didn't. But those are the numbers that I was told. Now, is $8 million guaranteed enough for Terence Crawford? It could be. Maybe it's not. Maybe he liked it. Maybe he didn't. But ultimately, the real question is, and I want to ask you guys this in the comments: do you really think Terence Crawford should be obligated to sign a 3-fight deal with PBC? Like, if PBC really wants the Terence Crawford fight, right? Why is Terence obligated to sign a 3-fight deal with PBC? You know? And then my thing is, if he does sign a 3-fight deal with PBC, will it be in the contract of who he's going to fight in that 3-fight deal? Because if you look at boxing, in most cases, when guys sign multi-fight deals with a promotional company and they're not from that promotional company, you know, they spent the bulk of their years with another promoter and somebody else built them up, they don't really put that in the contract, you know, unless you do exactly what they want. So that's what it is. Now, from what I was also told, the other caveat that you guys must know and you must understand about this. So the second fight was for the second offer, I should say. The second offer was 3 fights, 14 million. So just so we have everybody up to speed. Smash that like button, by the way. Shout out to all you guys here. Just so we have everybody up to speed. The first offer was 3 fights, 8 million. The second fight was 3 fights, 15 million with the $8 million guarantee for the Spence fight. Okay, from what I was told by my source, by the guy that I know, all right, that called me yesterday. And mind you, I don't normally do this. I'm not the breaking news guy, so I wouldn't come here and make this video if I didn't if I thought it was bullshit. To be honest with you, I wouldn't come here and say this if I thought it was. I don't think it's bullshit. From what I was told by the guy that called me yesterday, he told me that pretty much PBC is not going to go above 15 million for 3 fights. They'll still maintain the 3-fight deal, but it'll be 15 million, and it won't be no more than a 9 million guarantee for the Spence fight, and then it'll be 3 million for the second, whatever fight he takes after that, and then 3 million for the third fight. So that's what it is. That's the news. That's the news. I've known about this for a whole day. I've had to be very quiet about it and not tell anybody, but those are the actual terms of the contract. 3 fights, 8 million was the first offer. The second offer was 3 fights, 14 million with an $8 million guarantee. And PBC is not going to go above a $9 million guarantee for Terence Crawford. And it'll have to be in the 3-fight deal. So the question ultimately becomes, I don't think, to be honest, I really don't think money is the issue, because I think the guaranteed money is fair and just. Like, Terence Crawford, the most money he's ever made, in recent times at least, and I would think for his career, I could be wrong because I haven't checked his whole career, but I'm saying the last 2-3 fights he's had, the most guaranteed money he made was the Sean Porter fight, where he made a $6 million guarantee, and I believe some pay-per-view upside as well. And then this would be 8 million. This would be what, 2 to 3 million times higher than what he's gotten paid for guarantees, and I think that's fair. I think what a big stumbling block becomes is, you know, does Terence Crawford want to have a 3-fight deal? Because let's be honest, does Terence Crawford really want to even box 3 more fights? We don't know. We don't know what's on his mind. You know, we don't know what's on his mind. He might just want to do the Spence fight in Charlo and get out of boxing. We don't know. So that's really what the question is. I don't know if Terence wants to do that. But yeah, so there's that. The source that called me yesterday, he told me too that he talked to a couple of people at PBC. And he said that they told him that Dan Rayfield's tweet about the fight being penciled in isn't exactly, you know, he's just talking right now. It's not true. So nothing's finalized yet. They're still ironing out the details. And that's what it is. So hopefully this fight can get done, because there's a lot of people that want to see this fight. There's a lot of factors that are going into this negotiation, unfortunately. And it's ridiculous that it's been so quiet, and I had to be someone like me to break the news. But freaking PBC knows that Spence is not gonna fight Jaron Ennis. That's not a realistic option. Let's be real. The Jaron Ennis thing is not a legitimate thing. He's gonna have to fight Crawford, or if he doesn't fight Crawford, he'll have to fight Thurman, because we know what happened with the WBC, right? So that's the other option they're gonna want to make, because you gotta look at it from the business side of things. Even though I hate the business of boxing, Spence has had millions of dollars pumped into him by PBC. Thurman has had millions of dollars pumped into him by PBC. If they can't secure the Crawford fight, which is the fight everybody wants, then with the way things are shaking out with the politics, it's going to be Spence versus freaking Thurman. That's going to be the fight we're going to have to deal with as boxing fans. And then the other caveat of this too is I don't think this fight's going to happen. All right, so bear with me. I don't think this fight will happen. But Terence Crawford does have options if the fight doesn't happen. For example, Virgil Ortiz is the #1 ranked WBO contender. That would be a good fight. It would sell well on the West Coast, with Virgil being a good ticket seller out there in Texas and whatnot. being Mexican American. I don't think Terence wants to fight Virgil Ortiz, but I think Golden Boy Promotions, while Terence wouldn't get the high guarantee that he would get signing the 3-fight deal PBC, I think Terence Crawford would get high of enough guarantee with Golden Boy and Virgil to potentially make that fight happen if this fight falls out. So I don't think Terence wants to fight him. I think that fight is a long shot, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised if that winds up being something to discuss if this fight falls through. Now, a lot of people have spoken about Terence Crawford potentially wanting to fight Keith Thurman, or Terence Crawford versus Keith Thurman being an option. And to be honest with you guys, I don't quite see Terence Crawford fighting Keith Thurman, because in all reality, that would be a favor that PBC is doing for Terence Crawford to be able to fight one of their top guys, a guy that they pumped millions and millions of dollars into building up. Why would they let him fight Keith Thurman just to buy time for the Spence fight? And would Terence even take a fight against Keith Thurman? Because if he were to fight a Keith Thurman, right? Let's say they presented that option to him. Would PBC pay him anywhere close to the same guarantee they would pay Crawford for a Spence fight? My guess is no, because Keith Thurman's stock really isn't that high right now, because he doesn't have a lot of momentum, because he hasn't been very active over the last couple of years. So if he fights Keith Thurman, I would think you're probably going to get a $3 to $4 million guarantee. I don't think a $3 to $4 million guarantee for Crawford at this point would be enough to satisfy what he wants. He wants the undisputed fight, and he's going to negotiate, because as Top Rank told you guys many years ago, Top Rank told the world many years ago that Terence Crawford and his team and all parties involved on that side, they're going to negotiate every penny. That's why for his last 5 to 7 fights, Terence Crawford has gotten massive guarantees. That's why Bob Arum complained so much that he lost money on Crawford, because Crawford and his team, they negotiate every last penny. So that's why Bob had the quote where he was like, Crawford, I could build a house in Beverly Hills with the money I lost on Crawford. So that's what it comes down to, you know. Is Terence willing to fight multiple times at PBC if he doesn't know who he's going to fight in the contract? Because they could tell him all the things in the world. They could say, oh, well, you're going to fight Spence a second time and then Ennis or whoever you might want to fight after that. But then they might, if it's not in the contract, if it's not legally binding, they can switch that at any time. So that's really like the hurdle they got to clear. You know, to expect Terence Crawford, right? Like, I don't know if $8 million is what he wants. I don't know if $8 million is enough or $9 million would be enough for Crawford to get in the ring with Spence, to be honest. But you can't expect Crawford to not want to negotiate and get his highest guarantee. So he may want $10 million. He may want $11 million. I don't know what he wants, but I know what he's been offered. And he's gonna try to get that against PBC's number one guy, because you gotta look at PBC, right? PBC's number one guy at this moment in time, it's not Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, they already cashed out on him, so he's not number one no more. It's not Danny Garcia. It's not Keith Thurman. It's not no Leo Santa Cruz. Their number one attraction, the number one guy at the box office, number one guy as far as money is Errol Spence Jr. So Terence knows this. Terence knows that this is a big fight that people can't stop talking about. Terence Crawford knows that this is a undisputed fight. So he's going to try to negotiate every last penny, the same way he's done for years with Top Rank and Bob Arum and all these things. Now, what I will say is this. If Terence Crawford, if Terence Crawford doesn't want to box much longer, and PBC knows this, if there's some way that they know this, then them, in my eyes, offering him a 3-fight deal where he really doesn't want to box much longer is really them trying to get out the fight, to be honest. Like, some people are of the mindset that PBC, many people are of the mindset that Terence Crawford doesn't want holding up his fight, right? But at the end of the day, they always say in life, you don't get what you're worth, you get what you negotiate, and they're negotiations. Now, has it frustrated boxing fans? Yes, it has. Has it frustrated guys like me? Yes, it has. Have I gotten angry at times and just gotten mad at both of them? Yes, I have, because I'm a boxing fan first. I want to see the fight. But the person I talked to yesterday, right? I'm not gonna say his name, but he said that like he felt that PBC is trying to do everything they can to make it seem that Crawford doesn't want the fight. He does want the fight. I think they both want the fight. What it comes down to is control, leverage, negotiating, and both parties are still jockeying for position. So anything you've heard about the fight being penciled in, well, remember, guys, if you've ever been in school, if you've ever used a pencil, there's an eraser with a pencil. So pencils don't matter. It's all about pens and markers. It can be penciled in, but the fact that you don't have a definitive date, the fact that you don't have a definitive venue, the fact that you don't have a fight poster or anything like that, this fight is not done. And I would even go as far as to say it's still far from being over. Because even if Crawford and Spence both verbally agree to terms, because this can happen. Fighters can verbally agree to terms. We've seen it happen many times in boxing. Like, most people may forget, but Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, they both agreed to terms to fight each other. Like, they agreed in principle that, hey, I want to fight you, you want to fight me, okay, let's do it. After that happens, the next step is that the fighters and the parties involved, the teams, got to come to an agreement so far as, purse splits, percentages, if it's pay-per-view fight, pay-per-view, upside, these kind of things. These are the kind of things that really will make or break a fight. That's why I feel like the Joshua fight didn't happen with Wilder, because it's kind of a similar scenario. Eddie Hearn offered Wilder a 3-fight deal, just like PBC's offering Crawford a 3-fight deal. The only difference is they actually put it, at least from what was reported, I wasn't in the negotiation, but from what was reported, they said that they put in the contract that it was a fight for Wilder to fight the guy he was scheduled to fight at that time with Brazil, and then 2 fights with Joshua. He would have made $120 million. He would have fought for undisputed. But Wilder's team said that they didn't take the fight because they didn't know what Joshua was making. They only knew what they were making, right? So the fight didn't happen. So it's kind of a similar thing. It's kind of boxing history, in a way, repeating itself, where the issue and the stumbling block becomes, control, leverage, the 3-fight deals and things like that. So, yeah. If Terence Crawford, right? If Terence Crawford signs a contract for this fight, I personally believe that if it's going to be a 3-fight deal, it should be fair. It should be just. They should have it written into the contract who he's fighting. Like, so he should know, okay, Spence Thurman, or Spence Ennis, or Spence Ennis Thurman, or whatever the case may be. That should be in writing so that there's no fuckery that happens with their careers. Because at the end of the day, the main objective that should be the end goal for Team Crawford, Team Spence, PBC, and all parties involved, the end goal should ultimately be to deliver the fight that boxing fans want to see. Give the people what they want. Do right by the consumers. Do right by the people, by the boxing fans. Because let's just call a spade a spade. Boxing, out of all the sports in the world, boxing probably does the worst job at treating, as far as how they treat their fans. As far as giving them what they want. Because in baseball, you get the World Series, the best play the best. Same thing in soccer and NFL and hockey and all the sports. But in boxing, it's like there's so much minutia and so much politics that a lot of times the business of boxing will get in the way of fights, and the ones who get alienated the most and get just everything, they get the short end of the stick is the fans. And the fans really shouldn't be getting treated like that, because the reality is, if there were no boxing fans, if there wasn't people that paid their hard-earned money to travel, to buy tickets, to buy merch, to go to all these kind of events, there would be no boxing. So boxing needs to start treating its fans better, and that's what it is. So I really don't think, like, I'm of the mindset that no promoter is gonna give a guy like if a promoter has pumped millions of dollars into one fighter since they turned pro coming out the Olympics, and he's gonna fight another guy who spent the bulk of his time being built up and pushed by a rival promoter, then what that means is, like, I don't think the guy that's been built up by a rival promoter is gonna be afforded the luxury of knowing who he's fighting in a 3-fight deal. He'll know who he's fighting at the beginning of the deal, but he won't know who he's fighting in the middle of the end. So that's what it is. That's what it is. To be honest, I hope that's what it is. That's where we're at right now. If you're just tuning in, shout out to you guys. It's the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Your boy BT here in the afternoon, doing something a little different today. I'm breaking some news. today. Terence Crawford has been made 2 offers. All right, if you just tuned in, and you missed the early part of the live, I'll say it one more time, and then I'll start going through the comments. If you just tuned in, Terence Crawford has been made 2 offers by PBC. The first one, they're both 3-fight deals. The first one was a 3-fight deal worth $8 million. PBC upped it to a 3-fight deal worth $14 million, with the Errol Spence fight having an $8 million guarantee, and then a $3 million guarantee for the next fight, and then a $3 million guarantee for the last fight on that deal as well. From what I was told, like I said earlier, PBC is not going to go above a 3-fight deal worth $15 million. And that's what it is. So basically, that would mean that Terence Crawford's highest guarantee would be a $9 million guarantee. That would put him approximately above $3 million above what he got for Sean Porter. So those are the details. You guys can take all that information and you can do what the fuck with it, whatever you want. But I'm just being a messenger. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just letting y'all know. So yeah, let's get some comments. Shout out to everybody here. I hope you guys. I want to see what you guys think, because I really haven't read any comments. So I'm kind of intrigued to see where the hell what y'all are saying. Let me see. Shout out to everyone here. And by the way, let me know who you guys got winning. Shout out to my man Virtuoso. What do you got, BT? Well, I just told you. Michael Manning was good, champ. You're good. We can hear you. Cool. Key Mitch was good, champ. BT, what up? Shout out to the Untouchable. Shout out to you, champ. Yes, sir. Leonard Thomas says $8 million is more than enough, although we should take this with a grain of salt. Yeah, take it with a grain of salt, because I mean, the person that told me, I don't think he was bullshitting me. I really think he was telling the truth, but you never know. Listen, if it's $8 million for the guarantee, yeah, I think that's fair. The only stumbling block I believe will be is, does Terence want a 3-fight deal with PBC? Does he want to make a long-term commitment? You know what I'm saying? Both Spence and Crawford will be severely lowball. Boxing does what it does as usual. Yeah. 2 of the fights would be with Spence, I think. Well, I wasn't told that, and I don't think the person that told me this information even knows that either, if they're gonna put that in the contract. But hopefully they do. PBC is doing what they're supposed to do. Try and have a business their way. Sucks for their fighters, though. Yeah. It's a 3-fight deal, meaning that after the Spence fight, a rematch and a potential fight with Jermell Charlo. Well, I would hope so. I would hope that would be the case. I would hope that it would be Spence Charlo, because then we would get 2 really great fights with Spence and Crawford. We then would get, in my opinion, just for me personally, I like the Charlo fight better, because I just think it's a more entertaining fight. I like the idea of Terence Crawford going up to 154, trying to be great, all that stuff. So, hopefully that's what it is. PBC held the belts hostage, overaged both guys, and now are letting future fights trip up this fight right now. Yeah, well, look, listen, whether they make this fight or not, I just hope we get a resolution sooner rather than later, because there's young guns in this division that deserve their opportunity to shine. Jaron Ennis deserves an opportunity to shine. Virgil Ortiz deserves an opportunity to shine, become champion. Same goes for guys like Styonus and Conor Benn and all the young guys. So, we need to move. We can't have both these guys holding up the division forever. And that's just what it is. Crawford's net worth is an estimated $8 million, so $14 million is a fair deal. He'll nearly triple his net worth in 3 fights. Okay, well, I didn't look at Crawford's net worth, but if you say so, listen, I'm to the point. I'm just reporting the news. I'm trying to help the boxing fans out, but I'm to the point where I would just like the fight to happen or not happen. Either it happen or not happen, so that the division can move forward, because you can't have the division forever hinging on the backs of Crawford versus Spence. Brandon D. Hooker says, very informative video, BT. That's why I fucks with you. PBC took a page from Mr. Aaron's playbook. I'm happy for Crawford. This is where he'll separate himself as pound for pound. Absolutely. Personally, look, it's Crawford's prerogative. At the end of the day, he's a fighter. There's no life insurance in boxing. There's no unions in boxing that take care of the fighters after boxing. So he has to look out for himself and his family and get whatever he feels is fair, just, and right. So it's not my position to tell him what he should and shouldn't take. But what I will say is I just hope both parties can meet in the middle as soon as humanly possible, so that boxing fans can be happy and can get excited about, the fight that we've been talking about for a long, long time. A 3-fight deal for 3 fights is extreme love for Crawford. 10 for Spence fight is cool, but $4 million in 2 fights after is a nasty bargain. Charlo, yeah. See, for me, for me personally, I mean, look, I think it should be more than 14 million. 14 million sounds extremely low for a guy that is undisputed, holds a very important bargaining chip with the last title in the division for their guy, Errol Spence, to potentially get. I think, listen, we'll see how it goes, but that's where we're at right now. LOL, when an employee taking all the money he earns, of course the business he works for is going to take a loss. Yeah, absolutely. Get the smoke. What's good, champ? Good to see you. Hope all is well. PBC business model is fundamentally different than Top Rank. It is. You know, all fighters, you know, all promotional companies. Enough with this rumor mill. Y'all came in with this shit. Well, I'm not one for rumors, champ. I've never. You can go on the history of this whole channel when it comes to Crawford and Spence. I've never once reported a rumor. I've only ever reported on things that were in articles and things like that. The only reason I'm even saying this is because I got a phone call yesterday and I got the green light. They said, you know, you can do with this what you want. So I decided to make this video. I don't break stories. I do interviews, you know, and I do them pretty damn well. We never got to see the lots of great fights because of those pinche promoters. Talking about PBC. Well, look, man, I'm not here to talk down on nobody. I just want this fight to get done. I don't really give a fuck. I already know both fighters are going to be underpaid. This is the biggest and best fight in boxing right now. I'm trying to see it before the year is done. Well, look, I mean, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think it's the best fight in boxing. That's just my opinion. But it is one of the biggest fights in boxing. It is one of the most marquee matchups that people want to see. So, personally, look, PBC had all that money to give to guys like Canelo and things. And I understand that boxing is not a charity. You can't just go out giving money knowing that you're going to lose it. But my thing is with PBC, right? PBC has shown in the past, right? I'm just going to be honest. I like shout out to PBC. They treated me well. I got nothing bad to say about them. But like, PBC has shown in the past that they don't have a problem losing money. They don't. They will lose money. You know, they put on Luis Ortiz versus Charles Moore on a pay-per-view. So they didn't make money on that one. I'll tell you that much right now. So why wouldn't even if they were going to come out in the red in this fight, why wouldn't you try to come out? Why wouldn't you make the fight happen? Because if you have both guys under contract, especially Spence, both their stocks are gonna rise. It's gonna be a good fight. People are gonna like it. People are gonna be happy. They're gonna be satisfied. So why not? Why not make the fight? Daycare Promotion says, why Sean Porter spilled the beans, BT? It wasn't Sean Porter. Just so you know, it wasn't Sean Porter. I haven't talked to Sean Porter since like 3 weeks ago. So it's actually not Sean Porter. And it's not a fighter. It's nobody you guys would know. Even if I told you his name, you wouldn't know. I'm not going to tell you his name, but I'm just saying, even if I did, you wouldn't know. Ennis is overrated. He has no defense, and he is overrated like Wilder. We're going to see. We're going to see when he steps up. Hopefully, he can get like Styonis or someone good. Fair is subjective. PBC business model is based on low guarantees. Well, they're dealing with a fighter who's used to getting high guarantees. So if they have a fighter who's used to getting high guarantees, they're going to have to meet in the middle somewhere. And such is the business of boxing. $15 million guarantee should be the minimum. This fight is going to break the internet. Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is. That's what they wanted to pay. That's what they're going with. You know, maybe they don't want the fight. Maybe if you guys are the mindset that it's too low, then maybe they don't want the fight as much. Not Spence. I don't think it's the fighters. Maybe PBC. They're not willing to go all in. They're not willing to go all in for this fight the same way people here on YouTube or the boxing fans are going all in for this fight. So that's what it is. The globalist entity can easily invest this money machine fight. Warren Buffett, Jerry Jones, Jeff Bezos. Easy work and no risk at all. Well, you make a great point. Warren Buffett, he's been to Terence Crawford fights before. Stupid crazy money. Stupid crazy rich. Jerry Jones, we know spent his fight at Cowboy Stadium. And as far as Jeff Bezos, that one, he said Amazon and MGM. I mean, Jeff Bezos got plenty of money, but Jeff Bezos, I mean, I don't know what connection he has to those fighters. God bless, brother. I appreciate the positive example you're setting for young brothers. Keep up the great work. Well, I try to, man. I know I don't always succeed. Sometimes I talk shit and I get a little animated because I'm very passionate about the sport. But I try to be a good ambassador for boxing. I try to have integrity and carry myself that way. So, yeah, man. Pop, shout out to Pops. He says, at the end of the day, in the promoter's eyes, it's not what the box has accomplished in boxing. It's about filling up the seats with asses. And that is true. It is true. But I really think this is a unique scenario because even though Crawford is a B-side, he's not a regular B-side fighter, so to speak. He's a guy that holds a very important bargaining chip in the table. He can make Errol Spence an undisputed welterweight champion, which is no small accomplishment. You have also a guy in Crawford who has scaled weight classes, been undisputed. He's in some people's eyes the number one pound for pound fighter in the entire world. So it's not like he's a regular guy and he's gonna be very shrewd in the negotiations. Crawford doesn't sell. That's facts. Well, no, he does sell. He actually does sell. He sells tickets at fights. His issue isn't selling. His issue is pay-per-view buys. So get it right. All of them inflated numbers for Spence. Yeah, I wasn't told what Spence is getting. I was only told what Crawford is getting. I didn't ask what Spence was getting, but I was told. I think it doesn't really matter what Spence is getting because Spence's promoters are the ones putting on the fight, so they're gonna take care of him. It's really the Crawford side of things that needs to get ironed out. That's it, BT. Break the news. The most realistic channel on Spence versus Crawford. Yeah, listen, man. Look, this fight has to happen this year. If it don't happen this year, then fuck it. Like, honestly, fuck this fight if it doesn't happen this year because people have waited a long time for this fight. You got young guns like Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz who are having sensational performance after sensational performance, making a name for themselves, and people are going to want to see them get the opportunity at some point. So these guys got to fight, settle the score, find out who's the best, and let's do what's best for the sport, man. Lewis Coleman says, damn, my comments keep getting deleted. Spence needs Crawford. Crawford doesn't need Spence. Errol, he is already a Hall of Famer already. I think Terence is a Hall of Famer already. I think Terence will go in first ballot, no doubt about it. But I think they both need each other. I think Spence needs Crawford because, first of all, he needs to, he needs to try to become undisputed and become undisputed. And Crawford will be the biggest name on his resume. And it would be like really the biggest achievement of his career. And really of most people. Like being the undisputed welterweight champion in boxing is like one of the most important titles you could have. So to have that is like a huge feather in your cap. As far as Crawford not needing Spence, I'm a Crawford fan. Like I like Crawford more than I like Spence, I'll just be honest. But Crawford does need Spence because for as good as Crawford is, and he's beaten some good fighters over the years, he still needs that big signature marquee win. So they do need each other. They do need each other. Terence is the peanut butter to Spence's jelly. They need each other. MGM is bought by Amazon. Stream the fight in Prime if they fight. Okay, it makes sense. That's a great point. I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I don't see Crawford signing that deal. To be honest with you, I don't think he'll sign it either. I don't think he'll sign it either, not because of the money, but because it's a 3-fight deal. That's what I think. The only way he's signing that 3-fight deal is if Errol Spence Jr. winds up, or I should say, PBC actually tells him and puts it in writing, puts it in a legally binding contract that hey, you're fighting Spence the first fight, Spence second fight, Charlo, or Spence, Charlo, Ennis, or whatever they want, whatever combination that would appease Terence Crawford. Unless they do that, I don't see him signing that kind of a deal. There you go, champ. I hope jury duty was good for you. Shout out to all 180 of you here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more great world-class boxing talk and content, man. Let me see. Spence probably gets what Bud will get for 3 fights. Shit, he might. He probably might. But that's why when Dan Rafael reported the deal and said, Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, it's penciled in for this date and this date. Well, there's 2 reasons for that. Number 1, the fight isn't finalized, and number 2, from what I was told and from what I've learned through other people in boxing as well, is that the MGM is supposed to have not the MGM. Yeah, like in Vegas, there's supposed to be like a Bad Bunny concert, I think at the MGM or T-Mobile. I can't remember which arena it was. So they don't know what venue they're gonna fight at yet, and Bad Bunny's having a concert, so like somewhere around that time. So yeah, 3 fights for $14 million, never going to happen at that price. Not when you have Canelo getting what he's getting. This is the biggest fight in boxing. They need to pay more, way more. Well, there you have it. There's 115 people here. I don't have the biggest channel in boxing, but I have a channel to where like a lot of people behind the scenes in boxing do watch, and sometimes I don't think nobody's watching really, but then I go places and I talk to people and I find out that they are. So Let your opinions be known in the comments. If y'all think Terence Crawford is getting lowballed and he's getting fucked and these numbers aren't right, fair, and just, then put that in the comments. If you think Terence Crawford is a diva, if he doesn't take that deal, then put that in the comments as well. You know, let your opinions be heard, because I'm sure someone will see this. Gotta happen before Bomac retires. Yeah. Aram's lifespan will extend 10 more years if the fight falls through, somewhere doing the Birdman hand rub. Yeah, he'll be like Birdman. Get your shine on, get your shine on. Shady Slim, make sure y'all go subscribe to Shady Slim, a YouTube OG vet. He says it's a disgraceful offer. He says Terence Crawford getting this offer with Errol Spence is disgraceful. Yeah, man. Listen, I'm listen, because people call me a Crawford fanboy, so I'm not gonna pick a side. I'm just reporting information. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Y'all let your opinions be known, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm being biased for Terence Crawford or biased for Errol Spence. You know, although I do like Terence Crawford. Hulk smash the like button. Good video. Yes, thank you. How can Bud fight Charlo when he'll still have to negotiate with Showtime? Bud had no choice but to fight Spence. Not necessarily, because Bud doesn't have a promoter, and like I stated earlier, you know, I know it's not the fight we want to see, but Terence does have an option. He can go fight Virgil Ortiz. He can go, you know, Virgil Ortiz is #1 contender. You know, he's a credible opponent, 100% knockout ratio. He can call Golden Boy, and Golden Boy won't. I don't think Golden Boy would pay him the same guarantee they'd pay Terence for the Errol Spence fight, but I think they would pay him a high enough guarantee that would be higher than the Brook fight, and it would be at or just slightly beneath what he got for Sean Porter, which I think would be enough for him to take the fight with Virgil Ortiz. So I wouldn't say he has to fight Errol Spence. That's an illusion. Nobody has to do anything unless they're under contract. Broner is just a big mouth that could handle the big time one. Shout out to Adrian Broner. And listen, there's 131 of you here. If any of you guys are going to be in South Florida next weekend for the Adrian Broner versus Omar Figueroa fight, I will be there. So if you see me, if you're going to be here, let me know. And I love to meet some of the viewers of the channel, all the fine folks on YouTube, because I always love meet people. Why are people sleeping on Bud this matchup? I mean, I like Spence, but is he really that special? I mean, look, I think Errol Spence is very great at what he does. Like, he's a fighter that has a high volume jab, very physically strong. I mean, the guy, you hear the stories in the gyms about Errol Spence. I mean, they say he would spar 15 rounds in the gym with, like, you know, 5 different sparring partners. You know, he's a dog. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Errol Spence is a dog. But yeah, I'd favor Crawford if they fight. Lockefeller says that's a legit deal as long as he can get pay-per-view on the back end. Well, hopefully they do that. Hopefully they get that for him, because at the end of the day, all we want in boxing is for this fight to happen so that you guys, the boxing fans, myself, and everybody that loves this sport can get the fight they want, and the division can move on. Crawford got an $11 million lawsuit, so what's $14 million to him? Shake my fucking head. Damn, that's a good point. PBC might need to up it. They might need to up it. Bud should have been. We signed with Bob. We don't know Bob's heart. Bud's had bad business moves. That's what's holding this fight up. Yeah, well, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm just reporting the news. All they gotta do is plug in Bud and Spence highlights on every outlet in Texas, Nebraska during college football season, every Showtime sports programming, and backed by. Yeah, that's why I like. That's like the main thing that's kind of frustrating me about the fight, and why I've been kind of negative lately, because I want to tell you guys something about me. It's like I love boxing, and I'm a big fan of Spence and Crawford, believe it or not. So when these guys fight, I want them to get proper promotion. And I'm of the belief that if this fight does get done, it's gonna get done in a manner where these guys don't get the proper promotion. And when I say proper promotion, I don't want to be vague. Let me tell you what I think proper promotion is for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. I think if they fight, let's just say if they fought in December and the fight got signed right now, I think that both guys should be on every talk show. Terence and Errol Spence should be on every talk show imaginable. They should be having the highlights shown in the middle of like college football games for like 3 months. For 3 months, they should be doing NFL NFL, NBA interviews as much as possible in studio. Like, they should be doing as much as humanly possible for people who don't know about them outside of boxing to build their profiles up. So when they fight, people are like, yo, this Spence guy is interesting. I want to see him fight. This Crawford guy looks like a great fighter. I want to watch him fight. Anything less than like that kind of stuff to me is doing unjust by them. That's how I see it, to be honest. Jorge Marquez, listen, champ, tap again from the LBC. Shout out to I think it's Long Beach. Shout out to you, champ. Hope all is well. It's a wide world of sports, and boxing is still a part of it. Boxing it's a time-honored platform for global money machines competing against each other in the form of two boxers dueling in that ring. Yeah, absolutely. But BT, we know that Crawford ain't fighting this. If that fight falls out, Golden Boy is going to do dirty tactics. Crawford is not going to get no activity. It's very possible. A lot of things can happen. But shout out to my man Hyro. He says Spence. Palomon Hurtado says Spence, Jamel, Danny, and retire as one of the greatest, first ever 3-time undisputed champion. That would be some shit. That would be crazy. If he was able to actually go ahead and do that, that would be unprecedented. Just unprecedented in the sport of boxing. But you can't go 3 before you go 2, so you're gonna have to make something happen. Are you sourcing yourself like Blue Blood does? No. Because the information I got wasn't from me. It was from somebody else that's very close to the Al Heyman PBC camp. So I'm not going to say his name. I can't say his name because he told this to me in confidence. But he said you can take this information and do what you want. And I said, can I make a video? He said, yeah. So I said, okay. So I'm not sourcing myself. It's not from me. It's from somebody else. El Termario Boxeo says, I just got here, BT. Shout out to you, champ. Shout out to everybody here. Listen, let me know in the comments. Let your opinions and thoughts be heard, because, boxing's pretty slow. Boxing's not in the TFT Most Fight this weekend. We're excited about that. But, we're still waiting for boxing to pick up a little bit more. And, this was some information that was passed along to me yesterday afternoon when I was playing Max Payne on PlayStation 2, because I got a PlayStation 2 recently. So, yeah. A lot of you guys keep saying it's Sean Porter. I'm telling you guys right now, it's not Sean Porter. I haven't talked to Sean Porter in 3 weeks. I'm gonna tell you guys, the last time I talked to Sean Porter was like 3 weeks ago. He FaceTimed me and Sean Tatel from Fight Hype, and he said that we're going to Colorado soon to go to a USA boxing event to start covering stuff for the app, the Amateur Boxing Champions app that I told you guys about. So yeah, man. Someone in the Watson family is the source. No. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. This fight brings a pressure fighter versus a great finisher. Yeah, it's a great pressure fighter who's insanely well conditioned against a guy that's an insanely great sharpshooter. So we need this fight, man. Like, make it happen. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully it gets done. Hopefully, for the sake of boxing, it gets done. Because at the end of the day, we need this fight to happen. So listen, I'm gonna repeat myself again because I've seen the view count go up higher, and I'm sure we have some people in here. So if you're just tuning in and you're wondering what the fuck is going on, and if you're new here and you don't know who I am, if you're like, who the fuck is this mulatto dude talking about Crawford and Spence? All right, I got a phone call yesterday from someone, and they told me that Terence Crawford made 2 offers. The 2 offers were, I got it right here. The 2 offers were, the first one being they're both 3-fight deals. The first one was 3 fights, $8 million. The second one was 3 fights, $14 million, with it being a $8 million guarantee for the Spence fight, 3-3 on the other 2 fights. And then I was also told that PBC and all parties involved will not go above $15 million for 3 fights. So that $9 million will be probably the highest guarantee. That would be the highest guarantee that they would go. BT, how confident are you in this fight happening on a scale of 1 to 10? 4. I would say 4.5. 4. I'll say 4.5. I think 4.5. I feel like both fighters want the fight. I believe they have agreed to terms to fight, but agreeing to terms to fight, verbally agreeing to a fight and then actually getting a contract signed, sealed, and delivered are 2 different things, because you can verbally agree to a fight and the fight can still fall through. Perfect example, would be Joshua versus Wilder. They verbally agreed to the fight, but when it came down to ironing out those last dotting the E's, dotting the T's, and crossing the I's, they couldn't get that done, so the fight didn't happen for whatever reason, you know. You know, people know Spence. Bud is the only one people don't know. Man, they know them both. That's bull. Honestly, look. And I've been accused of being a Crawford fanboy in the past because I'm a huge fan of him. But like, if you know Spence, you know Crawford, and if you know Crawford, you know Spence. Their names are intertwined. Their names are interchangeable. So, you know, if you know what. If you know one, you know the other. That's like if you know Larry Bird, you know Magic Johnson. And if you know Magic Johnson, you know Larry Bird. So that's what it is. Yo, BT, I personally believe the fight will be announced very shortly because of the video, and people are gonna say BT exposed. I gotta probably, maybe you know what? If I have to get exposed, but the fight gets signed and boxing fans get to be happy, then so be it. I don't care. Shout out to my main man, Jamil Parker. I'll be seeing him in next week when he's here in Miami. He says, BT, call me when you end the live. All right. This doesn't sound right in my opinion. Shit, to be honest with you, I don't know. I got my questions about it too, but that's what I was told. But, you know, if the fight doesn't happen, right, let's just look at it from the PBC optics, right? If the fight doesn't happen in PBC, and let's say Steven Espinoza needs to spin a narrative, right? These are the exact numbers. Well, then PBC can say, well, it's Terrence's fault he turned down the fight because we offered him his highest guarantee of his career to fight for Undisputed, and he didn't want the fight, so it's on him. So it's very easy to spin. It's a very easy way to spin things if you look at the numbers. Let me see. We got shout out to my man Isaiah Guzman. Y'all know the drill. When the super chats come out, so does Don King. You know, Don King may not pay you your money, but he comes out when them super chats come out. So Don King, go ahead and talk to him.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. You don't live but once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. It don't matter whether you're young or old. Let the good times roll.
That's it. Let the good times roll, and let them roll with war here on True School Sports. Isaiah says it's a horrible offer. Is PBC aging out Bud Crawford? I really feel like, you know, I believe this fight could have been made a while ago. You know, these politics in boxing are ridiculous, and I really just wish like boxing would get to a place where the promoters on all ends know that it's just better for the sport if you work together. Because like Don King used to say, even though Don King, you know, has his reputation, working together works. You can say a lot of things about Don King. You can call him a crook, a thief, and all these things, which would be true. I mean, the guy's been sued 6 different times in 6 different decades, but he made the fights happen. You know, the fight will get made. It's the optimal time to make it, and Spence's car accelerated the marination process. That's a fair point. You know, I'm gonna remain optimistic. I'm gonna say I'm not the most optimistic, but I'm gonna keep a little bit of hope. You know, I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 10 it gets made. You know, salute for them to offer $14 million for 3 fights. It can't be a good deal because PBC fighters bet on themselves on back end revenue. Hopefully, Spence, Mel, Charlo. I don't know the third fight. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Danny Garcia. I don't know, Tony Harrison or something. I don't know. Who knows? They got to make the most they can out of it. Now is the time both guys are dropping the bag like Paul versus Rockman. Oh man, don't mention that, champ. Don't mention. We was having a good live, and then you had to mention Jake Paul versus Hasim Rockman Jr. That's funny. Even if Bud loses all 3 fights, that's 2 more undisputed fights. That's great. Now, that's great for boxing, and you know, stars are going to be created, legends are going to be created, fighters' profiles are going to be raised. That's what we need in boxing. We need these guys to be in the fights that people want to see. Earl and Bud fight is not going to happen, in my opinion. They want to have a $50 million for Canelo and $10 million to Plant type of a fight, but they want to give Bud and Spence peanuts and want to lock Bud into a contract. Well, hey man. It's a cold-blooded game. It's a cold-blooded game, that boxing business. Let's add Boots Ennis to the mix after he knocks out one of those PBC undefeated contenders. Well, we can add him to the mix. I don't think that, you know, Earl. I don't think it's a realistic option for Errol Spence to want to fight Boots Ennis next. I just don't see it because there's not enough money in it, and plus Earl has made it clear in the past that like he wants to move to 54 as soon as he can. So yeah, hopefully this fight can happen. Hyro says, I think the light-skinned dude could have made this fight in 2021 when he was scheduled to fight Manny Pacquiao, but it was late in 2021. He could have fought in the spring. Yeah, truthfully, look, I probably think a little bit differently about this fight than you guys do, because I've literally been making videos about this fight since it became a thing in 2018. So I'm just kind of tired. But like, I didn't need both of these guys to be undisputed for them to fight. I would have just rather than just fought because I already knew they were the two best in the weight class. Now they've been delaying it so damn much that they've allowed guys like Ennis and Virgil Ortiz to come into this division, make some waves, and get people to actually question, well, are these guys the two best welterweights in the division? I mean, I know most people are going to say yes, they are, because these are the two more established guys. But you know, they've made it. They now have it to a point where there is a contingent of people out there that actually are like, you know what, Jaron Ennis is the best welterweight in the world, and he beats both these guys. You know, so yeah, man. Shout out to my main man out there in Australia, Carl Hansen. Hope all is well. He says, salute to Pops. We're all good. Hope you're well. Thank you. Yeah, salute to you, champ. Hope all is well. Don King has seen more courts than Wimbledon. Yes. Word to Novak Djokovic. He's been in court quite a few times. He's no stranger to the courtroom. Brendan, get your flights booked to Las Vegas. Yeah, I'll probably be there sooner than I think. Sooner than you guys think. This fight should have a two-way rematch clause. I hope it does. I really hope it does. Bud is getting up there. He needs to move now. Listen to Rick Laser. It's not a casual fan fight. Yeah, well, I've been saying that too. I said that this is a big fight. This is a big fight in a sense of like it's more of like a Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera fight, which is a great fight. Like, it's an amazing fight. It's one of the best fights ever. Marco Antonio Barrera versus Eric Morales. But at the time when it happened, it was a fight that was doing like 300, 400,000 buys. So it had its fan base. It had its audience. It was definitely meaningful to the hardcore enthusiasts of boxing. But, it wasn't a crossover fight. It wasn't, Leonard versus Duran. It wasn't Ali versus, George Foreman. But it was a big fight. So I really feel like you got a point there. And I'm with you. It's not Trinidad versus De La Hoya, but it's a big fight. Only real boxing fans care about this fight, and that's not big enough, and that's the harsh reality. I don't know you, but 14 million isn't enough. They should get at least 15 to 20 million each. Well, listen, I'm all about the fighters getting money. Hopefully they could find a number that's good for all parties, so you guys can get the fight you want, and we can all be happy. My issue with the Crawford contract, like, I think the guarantee is good. It's the $3 million on the back end, because so if it's $3 million and $3 million for the other two fights, then that would have to mean that the other fights aren't with Spence, because if you're giving him an $8 million guarantee against Errol Spence, and then you're giving him nowhere close to that, not even half of that in the other two fights, then I would be led to believe that the other two fights are with names that aren't as big as, Errol Spence, so yeah. I was shouting at your channel. Nice to see new faces not on ESPN. Thank you, champ. Thank you. Where did you get this story from? Well, you listen, champ. I can't tell you. I can't review my sources, man. Listen, Dan Raphael don't tell you where he get his sources from, so I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I don't know. Listen, I'm not one to break news. I mean, there's been many times in the past where I've been told things about fights happening and negotiations, and I just didn't want to report on that kind of stuff because, I don't want to do all the bullshit that could come with that. But this is a different scenario because this is a fight that people want to see. This is a fight that a lot of people are interested in seeing. This is a fight that, boxing needs. So desperate times call for desperate measures, and so I don't mind it for this type of a fight. Let me see. Thurman versus Earl is next. Earl got to go through Thurman or no Crawford, or he got to leave the WBC belt. Earl is a clown. Well, you know what? Look, if you want to just let's take all our emotional fan logic out of it, right? Our fandom out of it. We know that PBC has pumped millions of dollars into Keith One Time Thurman. And you guys know that Keith One Time Thurman has been inactive these last couple of years, and the end seems to be near for Keith Thurman. So they're going to want to, in my opinion, and I think anybody who can read between the lines, you would be led to believe they're going to want to cash out with him, and the best way to cash out while keeping the money all in-house would be an Errol Spence fight, irrespective of what Errol says. So that's what it is. We'll see, man. I'm very intrigued to see if because I think Errol would drop the belts before he fights Thurman, but that would be some shit if we don't get this fight and we get Thurman versus Spence. That'd be something. Are you telling the truth? Yes, I am telling the truth. You like I said, you don't gotta believe me. You can say, you're full of shit. We don't trust you. That's fine. You don't gotta believe me. But do with this what you want. Are you doing a Teofimo live stream? Yeah, we'll be live Saturday for the Teofimo Lopez Pedro Campa fight. Should be a fun fight. Teofimo Lopez coming back. Hopefully he goes out there and has a great performance and reminds the world about his talent and what he brings to the table. Never reveal the source. Just don't lie and make up false info. All good. I don't really care enough about this fight to sit around and make up this kind of information. Like I got other things in boxing I'd rather talk about than Crawford versus Spence. If I'm being honest with you, but this was such great information passed to me that I had to go live for it. Danny Garcia fucks Keith up this time around. What do you think, BT? It's a tough fight to predict. I would still favor Keith Thurman. I'm not going to go crazy over Danny Garcia beating up a 147-pounder 154. But he looked good. It's good to see him back in the ring. Happy, he was apparently going through a lot in his own personal life. So it's good to see that Danny Garcia is happy. He's joyful. So, but yeah, I would go with Keith win by decision. Undisputed sells. Charlo vs. Castaño did big numbers. This fight has a chance to exceed. That makes sense how you broke down the big deal. Bud did say he only wants Spence. Spence only wants Bud. Yeah, exactly. Spence only wants Bud. Bud only wants Spence, but PBC wants control. So, they're going to have to find a way to make all three of those pieces work together. Spence said it's Bud this year or it's never and happening. And if it don't happen, he going 154. That's what I think. That's why I don't see... That's why, I don't see Spence fighting Thurman or Ennis. I just don't see him staying. Why? Why would he kill himself to make the weight? Because he's big. If anybody here has ever seen Errol Spence in real life, he's big as hell for the welterweight. So the fact that he gets down to welterweight and he's been doing it for all these years is a blessing within itself. The fact that Errol Spence Jr. is still getting to welterweight is a blessing, and at some point he should be afforded the opportunity to move up and not have to kill himself to make the weight. They must think you're that combat sports dude. He stay lying. I don't know who you're referring to because I don't know, but shout out to him. And no, I'm not the combat sports dude. I'm not these other guys on YouTube. I don't come out here and make up lies. It's not my style. If you check my track record, if you check the whole history of my channel, I'm not the kind of person that makes these videos, and that's what it is. So if I'm telling you this, it's because I got it from someone who is a reliable source, and that's what it is. Tito Dada says, how is Coach Jorge Rubio a good trainer for Tio? Educate us, please. Well, we got to give you a... Listen, I don't know if you're new here, Tito, but listen, when the super chats come out, so does the big bad dude, the big bad booty daddy. So Scott Steiner, put these hoes in the Steiner recliner.
Grind. And it's only a matter of time because they call me the big bad booty daddy.
He said, so how is Rubio a good trainer for Tio? So I think Teofimo Lopez, what makes Teofimo Lopez such a dangerous fighter is that Teofimo Lopez, he's explosive, he can punch. Very, very fast reflexes. And the fact that he has such great reflexes, I would say the fact that he has great reflexes, it gives us the potential to become a much better defensive fighter than he actually is. Jorge Rubio is known for making guys more defensively sound. He's a defensive coach. This is a guy that trained a bunch of Cuban amateurs. He's trained Luke Campbell. He trained Gamboa. He trained Amir Khan for a little bit. He trained Isaac Chamberlain. He's actually the guy, honest to God, Isaac Chamberlain, who just fought Chris Smith for the British title, he's actually the guy that I would say actually changed Isaac's style. So now Isaac's a more, he still needs to tighten up on his defense, but he's become a little bit more slick since he lost to Okoli. So he's really known for being a defensive coach. And that's going to help Teofimo Lopez get hit a little bit less. And I would even say, if I had to take a guess as to what tweaks they might make to his style, they might try to make Teofimo Lopez at 140 turn into a more of an aggressive counterpuncher because he's fighting bigger guys. he's he's a bigger guy. So, is it an offer or is it signed? No, it's an offer. It's an offer. True School. Terence versus Errol ain't happening. PBC want to make Errol versus Thurman. People can talk. Errol won't fight them, and at the end, Errol don't run the business. Something coming up is big. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Errol doesn't run the business. He doesn't. Al Heyman's the guy pulling the string, so we want to see what happens, man. We at our end, but shout out to all 165 of you here. Make sure you guys smash that like button if you're new. Take the time to subscribe, and feel free to join us on Saturday for the Teofimo Lopez live fight reaction. You know, we put out great content here on the channel, and we'll be at the Adrian Broner fight next weekend. So if we see anybody from PBC there, like a Sam Watson or whoever, we'll be sure to ask the questions you guys want to know about this fight if it's not done by then. Jay Miller says, BT, what's your cash app? I can't see a chat from the Dominican Republic. All right, I got you, champ. So, I mean, you don't have to. I'm not begging or panhandling, but if you do want a cash app, my cash app is just a kid from Dania, the same way it's spelled right there. So that's a cash app right there. There it is. There's a cash app. So if y'all want a cash app, that's a cash app. But yeah, this makes things all the more interesting because Broner's fighting next week here in South Florida. And I would like to hopefully interview somebody from PBC and see what the deal is with this fight. You know, see if we can get further confirmation on these numbers. I'm sure they'll deny it because they like to deny everything, but hopefully the fight can happen. They should persuade Spence to fight Keith if that Spence Bud fight don't happen in November. Well, yeah, they should. That'll be a really big event. And again, like I said, Keith Thurman has had millions of dollars pumped into him from PBC. Let us not be so quick to forget that Keith one-time Thurman fought on the first ever PBC show. Keith Thurman fought on the first ever CBS PBC show. They did 4 million viewers on free TV in the United States with him and Danny Garcia. So this guy has had as much money pumped into him as anybody in boxing. And we know he's not all the way there when it comes to the boxing. So we're gonna want to cash out, and the optimal way for PBC to want to cash out will be for Keith Thurman to fight Errol Spence. So that's what it is. Michael Ryan Pitt says, "What up, BT? I'm tired of people calling you a liar. You are the most honest person in boxing, one of the better people I know. Thank you, champ, and I appreciate you. Shout out to you out there in Alabama. And yeah, look, all I can say is this. I'm not gonna sit here and talk myself up. All I can say is, if you want to know someone, just judge them by their fruits. Judge them by the reputation. You know, judge them by the reputation. Have you ever heard any of these fighters that I've interviewed? And you guys have seen me interview the Who's Who of Boxing. Have any of these fighters has my name ever been in like any sort of like fuckery? No, it hasn't. Sir Bishop says at True School Sports, you're doing a good job, brother. I encourage you to keep the good work. You are appreciated. Thank you, champ. You know, I really appreciate everybody here, and I appreciate all the fine folks that continue to support the channel and push me to keep going forward because, you know, I love boxing and I want this sport to be in a better place than I found it in when I started covering boxing, and we're on a mission to make boxing a better place. We got a super chat. Shout out to my man. Oh, it's been a minute. Will Lynch, what's good, champ? Long time no see. You know, you guys know the drill. When the super chats come out, you know what? We're talking about Terence Crawford, so we might as well give my man Will the Terence Crawford in the car doing the donuts. You know, we'll give him one of those.
Pussy ass, bring your ass out. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you, Errol. Where you at?
There you have it. So shout out to Will. Hey, quick question. Do you think Abner Mares can make a legit comeback? I seen he was fighting on the Andy Ruiz undercard. Personally, no. I think, I don't know what's going on with Abner Mares. I mean, fighters are not like us regular human beings, guys. These guys are born and bred to fight. They're born and bred to crush, kill, and destroy from a very, very young age. And once they're not doing that in the boxing ring, they lose a part of themselves. That's why it's very important for a fighter to find a life outside of boxing. So he could just be coming back because he's bored and he doesn't know what to do. But yeah, I think he's really shop worn. You know, he had an eye injury from years ago that is gonna probably be re-aggravated. So I think it's a bad idea. And I think if he comes out here and he starts winning fights and looking good, they're gonna go ahead and make that Tank Abner Mares fight, you know, because you got to remember that they had that Abner Mares Tank fight scheduled years ago. And if they make it, they can say, well, you guys do know this fight was scheduled years ago, so this is unfinished business. So, you know how boxing is. Boxing be on some bullshit. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't think so. Jay Miller says, I believe you, BT. You're one of the most objective YouTube channels. I'm rooting for your boy T.O. Saturday. Thank you, champ. I appreciate you. And yeah, as far as T.O., listen, I want to see T.O. do well. T.O. is from right up the road here in Davie, Florida. You know, he's one of South Florida's very own. So it wasn't cool to see him lose to George Kambosos the way he did and then to see the way he acted. So I'm hoping he can come out here and deliver a statement. Let the world know of why he got so much hype in the first place. You know? Crawford, if he has no choice, can sign multiple deals with PBC and then can retire if he chooses to not complete the total fights contract number. Not if it's legally binding. If that shit is legally binding, he got to fight. You got to fight. That's why it's not that simple. Thurman versus Lara on the undercard of Spence. But is a brilliant natural build-up for those old 147 heads going into 154. Also, pay attention to cards. Undercard fighters meant to be potential headliners. Absolutely. And you know what? I want to also mention this, guys, and I want to throw this little caveat out there that just came into my mind while I was talking. So we've all been like kind of raising our eyebrows as to why the hell Jermell Charlo versus Tim Tszyu is finalized, yes, but finalized at so far ahead in advance. Like, they're going to fight in January. It's August now. They finalized that in July. So we're talking about August, September, October, November, December. We're talking about them finalizing a fight 6 months in advance. Could they have finalized it with that sort of gap in time because they're trying to line it up with whenever they're going to make Spence Crawford? I don't know. That's what I think. If this fight is going to happen, I would think that they made that fight with Tszyu and Charlo so far down the line so that it can line up with Spence versus Crawford, and then the winner of Spence versus Crawford could fight the winner of Tim Tszyu versus Charlo in the summer of 2023. That's what I think. That's one theory that I got just like recently talking. Are you going live for his fight? T.O., yes, I'll be live for his fight. I'll be live for his fight on Saturday, and then I know Mickey Bay is fighting Tevin Farmer on Friday, so I don't know if there's a way I could watch that or where I could watch that, but I would like to watch that fight because Mickey Bay is a friend of the program. I like Mickey Bay, so I would like to watch him and support him. Blue Blood is a trip. He's making videos about Arya looking like he's 154. Well, hey, shout out to Brother Blue Blood. I had a chance to meet him on 2 occasions. Once at the Devin Haney-Jojo Diaz weigh-in, and then once at the Jerron Ennis gym. And he was respectful and nice. You know, whatever he does, that's how he runs his channel, how other content creators decide on their channel. That's their business. But for me, on this channel, we will do things with integrity, and we will do things that don't hinder the sport of boxing. We will do things to try to do right by the boxing fans. Earl Thomas, shout out to him. He says, the bottom line I've said since day one is PBC is not going to feed their champions to Crawford without having complete control over Crawford, period. And you're absolutely right. You are 10,000% correct. Why would PBC just let Crawford potentially beat Spence in a fight, not have control over him, and then basically all the millions and dollars they invested into Spence, I'm not going to say they go in vain, but they don't get to maximize their ROI, their return on interest, that kind of stuff. So these are things that we got to consider as boxing fans. We have to consider these things. You see, shout out to everyone here. We got another super chat. So I think it's Will again. Where is it? I just saw it. Where is it? So Will super chat again. He says, well, hold on. Let's give Will another Scotch
The bump and grind. And it's only a matter of time because he called me the big bad booty daddy.
Booty daddy, let's go, champ. He says, PBC is throwing away the opportunity to utilize Jermell Charlo to sell their brand. That's a man who ain't afraid to fight anybody. Listen, man, not even just Jermell. I think the Charlo brothers in general. I feel like, man, the Charlo brothers should have had a bigger push earlier on in the game because, whether you love them or whether you hate them, them guys know how to tug on your heartstrings. Whether you love them because they're brash and they say keep one in your fucking mouth, or you hate them because they say that, They're definitely fun to watch, especially Jamel. Jamel is one of the truest warriors this sport has to offer. I mean, this is coming from a guy, I didn't always like Jamel Charlo. I used to think he was overrated when he fought like John Jackson in his first fight, and John Jackson was not even known for being a pure boxer, was outboxing Jamel Charlo, and then he kind of turned his back and then got knocked out. I wasn't always a Jamel Charlo fan, but over time is the best teller of all. And what I've seen from Jamel Charlo is a guy that is nothing short of one of the realest fighters in the sport today. And I would love to see him fight. I'm looking forward to the fight with Tim Tszyu because I like Tim Tszyu as well. But I would like to see Jamel continue to build his career, continue to build his brand, and continue to be one of the best fighters out there. Mickey Bay versus Terence Farmer is going to be on Fight TV. So there you have it. I'll support the event. I'll support Mickey Bay because one thing about Mickey Bay is it's funny. Mickey Bay is one of these guys who, for whatever the case may be, I have a lot of history with him. Like before I even knew Mickey Bay, I bought tickets to watch him fight Rancis Bartholomew here in Florida at the Hard Rock. Fight he lost, and then I had a chance to meet him last year, and we talk every now and then on Instagram. Really good guy, always gives his time. Loves boxing, has a great story to tell. Like the guy worked side by side when he was a kid with Emmanuel Stewart. He posts this video on Instagram all the time on his stories. Emmanuel Stewart was writing him a check, and he handed it to Mickey Bay when he was a kid. And Mickey Bay bought his first car with that check. So, like, he has a lot of great stories about Floyd and the Krong Gym and things like that. So, he's always a fun guy to talk to. Hopefully, he can go out there and I'd like to see him win. I would love to see him win his fight against Tevin Farmer because, he looked good against George Kambosos when he won. It was easy to make Mikey Garcia versus Spence, but with Crawford, there's problems. Yeah, well, again, that goes back to what one of the previous commenters said earlier. It was easier to make because Mikey Garcia was under full control of PBC. He was fighting with them all the time. Makes sense. How would Thurman only cash? Makes no sense. How would Thurman only cash out when the networks make nothing? Well, when I say cash out, I don't mean from the networks. I'm talking about from the PBC side of things. They're gonna want to make one last big return on investment from Keith Thurman before he's retired, and I think that you're gonna get the most money for Keith Thurman with him fighting a guy like Errol Spence. That's what I'm saying. And you can't say that the networks wouldn't make any money because Keith Thurman is still a name. He fought Manny Pacquiao. He's a name. And one thing about Keith Thurman, he's gonna do interviews and he's gonna sell the fuck out that fight. So you can't just say that. Speaking of Real Deal, go back and watch Foreman vs. Holyfield on ESPN Plus and ask, does AJ have what an old Foreman has to press the smaller, more agile fighter in the Usyk Holyfield? The answer is no, round 7. I don't think he does. I did see a video today on Twitter of Anthony Joshua throwing body punches on the body shield. And he looks aggressive. He looks more improved. He looks like he's going to be a more aggressive fighter going into the fight. But to sit there and plant your feet against Usyk is going to be a difficult thing. I don't think he has the quality to press a guy like Alexander Usyk for, the majority of a fight and get a stoppage. And I don't think he's going to outbox him because we saw that he can't do that in the last fight. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Usyk to win this fight. But listen, if Anthony Joshua could beat Alexander Usyk, then there would have to be a lot of respect put in his name because there's always, I don't know what it is. People just hate Anthony Joshua because they say he's a fake corporate robot. But for me, I like AJ. I'll always appreciate AJ because I'm old enough to remember when Anthony Joshua was the top guy in the division. When Wilder really wasn't fighting the guys we wanted to see him fight, and Tyson Fury wasn't in the picture. Anthony Joshua carried this division for about a good 12 to 18 month stretch. So you gotta always appreciate AJ for that. Body punches are important in the later rounds. They cause Usyk's hands to drop. It's also very dangerous. Yes. But the thing you got to also factor in is it looks like Usyk has put on more muscle. I mean, muscles don't win fights, but I'm saying he looks like he has more strength on him going into this fight. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it winds up being a good thing for Joshua because now maybe with the extra weight on him, Usyk feels more inclined to trade, and that could bode well for Joshua. We don't know. That $8 million guarantee is fool's gold. If the total for 3 fights is $14 million, that's a little over $4 million a fight. Yeah. It is what it is, man. It's the day and age we're living in. BT, is T.O. sounding delusional to you? He sounded delusional. I don't think he sounds as delusional as he sounded when he lost to Kambosos. I feel like, he's in a better place now because he's got Jorge Rubio back in his camp, and a lot of times passed since then, and he's been divorced from his wife, which he kind of alluded to in his interviews. But he believes in himself. One thing about T.O. is an emotional, passionate guy. He really believes in himself, and hopefully this fight for him needs to be that confidence building fight to get him back to where he needs to be. So I think he's still delusional. I think T.O., for better or for worse, even before he lost to Campos, was always a little bit delusional. But there's nothing wrong with a healthy bit of being delusional. It's just if you're overly delusional, that's what the issue is. Could you imagine? That'd be insane. He said, who is 12 to 18 months? LOL, try 4 years, bro. You can't say that because Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they fought in December of 2018. Joshua beat Vladimir Klitschko in April of 2016. So, yeah, I would say about a year and a half is about right. Because Joshua and Wilder and Fury 1 was one of the best fights in recent memory. You can't say it wasn't. So you can't just say he carried the division for 4 years. He was a big part of the division for 4 years, but he really carried it for like 12 to 18 months. Jorge Rubio is here. He wants to know who is Jorge Rubio. So I can, in the words of Caleb Plant, I can show you better than I can tell you. Y'all remember when Caleb Plant was saying that against when he was getting ready to fight Canelo? He was like, I can show you better than I can tell you. Jorge Rubio is a trainer. Yeah, he's trained a lot of fighters. He trained Gamboa. I think he might have trained Rigondeaux for a little bit. He trained Luke Campbell. Yeah, look. Yeah, this is Jorge Rubio. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but look. This guy right here. I'll Twitter screen share. This guy. This is Jorge Rubio. He used to train the Cuban national team many years ago. He trained Isaac Chamberlain for a little bit. He trained Amir Khan early in his career. He trained Rigondeaux. He's trained a lot of guys. Really known for being a guy who's big on footwork and being a defensive coach. That's why they brought him in. They actually had, fun fact, Rubio as part of the original George Kambosos Jr. camp. They didn't have him for when the fight got rescheduled, and the camp was completely different. So yeah. Yeah, shout out to you, champ. I'm not off, bro. Anthony Joshua's biggest fight, the biggest fight he had at that time was Vladimir Klitschko. That was like in April of 2017. Fury and Wilder fought in December of 2018. So do the math from April of that year of 2017 to December 2018. That's like what? 12. It's like damn near 20 months. It's more. It's more than 18 months. But we'll see. Shout out to everybody here. It's the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. Your boy BT here in the afternoon. If you want to know what this live is about, you can just go back and play it back. We're still talking about, this offer that was made, these two offers that I made to Crawford, which, make of that what you will. A lot of people aren't happy with it. They're saying that it's bullshit. They're saying that they don't think Terence should take that offer because it's too low. But truthfully, look, if it's good enough for Terence, it's good enough for me. So I just hope whatever gets offered to him, if this is good enough for him, then it's good enough for me. Because I just want to see the fight. Those fights did not carry the division, bro. Stop it. Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko fighting in front of 100,000 people at Wembley. Okay, so let me get this straight. So Tyson Fury was out the picture. He was nowhere to be found. He looked like Jabba the Hutt. When he would talk, he sounded like he was wheezing. He couldn't. We didn't know if he was in the box again. So he wasn't doing no carrying of the division in 2017. Really, he wasn't. Wilder, people wanted to see Wilder fight Joshua around the 2017, 2018. That's when the negotiation started, and we know what happened. The fight didn't happen. Wilder was fighting a lot of people that, you know, the first Lewis Ortiz fight was good, but like for the most part, he was fighting guys that people didn't want to see him fight. So you can't really say Wilder was carrying the division. It was AJ. AJ was carrying the division. I know people don't like it. I know people want to have revisionist history, but like, see, the good thing about covering boxing like every freaking day here on YouTube is like I can actually remember what it was like on here back then. Wilder was never doing shit, and Tyson Fury was fat as a house. Joshua is heavyweights boxing. That's why he's the biggest draw. And he won a gold medal, and he's 6'6", and he was golden boy. He's always been like, he's like the Derek Jeter. I've always called Anthony Joshua like the Derek Jeter of boxing, because if you watch baseball, when Derek Jeter was playing for the Yankees and he was in his prime, he would never say the wrong things in the media. He always gave you like the diplomatic, politically correct answer, and it's the same thing with AJ. It's the same exact thing. So that's what it is. But yeah, let me see. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable, True School Sports Empire. I don't know if we have anybody new here, but like I was saying earlier, if any of you guys are going to be in town for the Adrian Broner Omar Figueroa fight, I will be there. So if you're gonna be there, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments, and we can meet up. You know, maybe you might even get in the True School Sports video, because I am known to do that. If I meet people and you see me at fights, I am known to be making videos for people that watch the channel and stuff. So, you know, it is a thing. What's Hyro? That picture is from 10 years ago. He's way older than I. I'm talking about Jorge Rubio. Man, Hyro, don't stop worrying about a man and his age. Stop worrying about a man and his looks. Worry about women, champ. It's in so yeah, the Adrian Broner fight is gonna be at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. So if you're gonna be at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, let me know. You know, apparently, hey, shout out to my main man, 50 grand, Kanan Lawrence. He says he'll be there. Well, I'll see you there, champ. I'll see you there. I'll be there, well dressed, smelling good, looking handsome, ready to deliver that world class boxing content. Yes, sir. Kyle wants to know, where do you get your sources from? You tripping? Okay. First of all, if you knew anything about how when information gets reported, you would know that you're not supposed to reveal your sources. That's not how this shit works. So I'm not going to tell you where I got it from. No matter, but it is what it is. Those are real offers. Those are the numbers. You can take with the information. You can choose to believe me. You don't got to believe me. You can believe me or not believe me. I don't lose no sleep over any damn way. I know I'm telling the truth. So maybe now the fight will get signed. Maybe now that this is getting reported, maybe the fight will get signed and they'll give Crawford more money, or they'll give Spence more money. You know, he says I'm capping. Okay, you say so, Kyle. If you say so, champ, I'm not gonna. Nah, this ain't about that. Cause truthfully, I don't give a fuck. Like I could give less of a fuck if I had 134 viewers on here, 34 viewers on here, or 4 viewers on here. I'm still gonna talk boxing the same way and enjoy it the same way. That's why, like, I'll be the only channel here on YouTube going live for club show boxing, covering fighters that nobody really knows or cares much about. So, in the beginning, when Al Haymon had $1 billion, they didn't care about a loss. They care now that the money has been ran through. Yeah, well, we knew this. We knew that PBC got a big, massive lump sum of money from Waddell and Reed to start PBC. I believe it was upwards of like, my numbers could be off, but I believe it was like 365 million or it was something like that. And they blew right through it because they were. If you remember when PBC first started, they had TV dates on every platform. We're talking about they had CBS, NBC, Spike TV, Bounce, Estrella TV. They even had ESPN for a little bit, and they were paying for all these dates and all these different networks, and they didn't really secure a lot of sponsorships from what I remember, because I remember that was the thing. They wanted to buy up all these dates so they can secure enough sponsorships to recoup the money they lost from like Waddell and Reed that they spent to invest in the product. But it's a whole different ball game now. This isn't the PBC of old. This isn't the PBC that had they had that guy. I forgot his name. They had that guy that produced the song for like Star Wars, that produced the PBC song. If you guys remember the first PBC show, you'll know what I'm talking about. The little song that used to play at the beginning. Dun 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 Dun, 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you watch those early shows, the Keith Thurman, Robert Guerrero, Adrian Broner versus John Molina, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sean Porter versus Broner, those like the early PBC shows. Thank you, Kane, and I appreciate you, champ. Thank you. You know, but I'm looking very forward to it. You know, Adrian Broner, man. They say Adrian Broner is done. They say Adrian Broner has no future in boxing. Well, guess what? He's fighting a guy that he really was supposed to fight in 2018. So we'll see what Adrian Broner has left in the tank. I'm looking very forward to going to an Adrian Broner fight. I've never gone to an Adrian Broner fight. I was supposed to go like 5 years ago when he fought Adrian Granados, because Adrian Granados is a good friend of mine. And I didn't get a chance to go to that fight. But looking forward to it, man. One thing about Adrian Broner, you can love him, you can hate him. He goes in there, he fights. You know, he doesn't really duck fighters, really. And he always gives you entertainment. So PBC has never had Crawford in their plans. It was of the PBC. If it was of the PBC, they would leave the killer from Omaha alone. Spence is putting the pressure on PBC. Yeah, that's what I believe. I personally believe that he's never really been in their plans. But I would love this fight to get done. I don't care if I'm wrong or if I'm right. I really don't care. I want the sport of boxing to be in a better place. I want boxing to really just make this fight happen so people can be happy. Needs improvement says, yeah, I remember. Remember what? Oh no, the song. Yeah, the song. Dun 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 dun. The old PBC song. That was, you know, they spent a lot of money because they got the guy. I don't remember his name, but they got the guy who produced the song. I think for Star Wars or Star Trek. He produced the PBC song. That is a fact. That wasn't cheap. That shit wasn't cheap. Spence is gonna win hands down. Man down from Dallas, Texas stand up, and that's my main man, SC Slots, the bodyguard. Yeah, he looked like a bodyguard. Hey, it could happen. If they fight, I don't think that's gonna happen, but you know, we'll see if they fight. All these people say they don't care about Broner. Tune in and criticize him, so it don't matter if he's making people tune in. They're gonna watch. They're gonna watch. They're gonna go in there and they're gonna listen. You may not watch Adrian Broner for the fight, but you're gonna watch him for the post-fight interview. You're gonna watch Adrian Broner to see what kind of foolishness is about to come out of his mouth. So, you know, we'll see, man. I can't wait. He's already had one memorable moment by walking off the Zoom interview, pretty much saying like, you know, why are we doing this shit on the computer? You know, they don't do Floyd shit on the computer. Why am I shit on the computer? So it should be a really fun occasion watching him fight again. And you know, look, one thing about Adrian Broner is we know that he doesn't really like to throw, like, as time has went on and he's moved up in weight, he doesn't throw as many punches as he did in the lower weight classes. Omar Figueroa, you know, he's known for throwing punches and bunches, so that's what it is. And I'll tell you this, man, I'm also excited about that fight because I'm excited to finally meet Omar Figueroa's sister. That's gonna be that's what I'm really excited about, to meet the sister. See what's going on. Check her temperature right quick. Samaj James says, Errol and Crawford are both using what they can gain from fighting Jerron Ennis 2 as an excuse. They're really both scared of Booth because he's young and powerful and completely dominated all 28 opponents he beats. They fear Jerron Ennis. My man Samaj. I don't think they fear him. I don't think anybody fears anybody at this level. Like, to be honest, it's very easy as a fan, and I'm guilty of it too. When you like a fighter to say, well, this guy's ducking this guy. There's only a handful of guys that have actually ever ducked somebody in boxing to where we can actually say we have irrefutable evidence that he ducked the fight. Like, example would be Canelo ducking Demetrius Andrade. That's because he's telling you he ain't gonna fight him, and he's been in position to fight him multiple times and didn't. So he ducked him. That's a clear duck. Errol Spence, I think if the fight doesn't happen, they're both going to be at fault. And PBC will be at fault too. There'll be blame. There'll be plenty of blame to spread around. Don't worry about that. Let me see. We got a lot of comments here. Let me see. We got... You need to see Harold Calderon. Oh, he'll be there. Shout out to Harold Calderon, one of Miami's very own. Velocity Cut says, Amaya Figueroa has to start a workout channel. Yeah, man, look, Amaya Figueroa is a very attractive woman. She's one of the few women that when I see her, I actually want to go to the gym and work out. Like, she's actually that's how in shape she is, you know. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. As a fighter, you make more money than your last fight. Bud has made more than 14 million in 3 fights. So, I guess we're gonna have to, according to you guys in the comments, I guess we're gonna have to up it. You know, we're gonna have to up it. We're gonna have to get Errol paid some more. We're gonna have to get Terence paid some more, and we're gonna have to do what's right, fair, and just for these guys that have been at the top of this weight class for 5-6 years. You know, give them what they want. Got to give the people what they want. Crawford has too much psychology for Spence. He can see Spence's punches. He's in Spence's head. You know, I'm of the mindset that, you know, Terence Crawford is going to sharpshoot his way to victory and counterpunch his way to victory. He's going to hurt Errol Spence, but we'll see. I got Spence. Hey, Hyro, you can't talk about Spence and Crawford. You can't talk about Spence versus Crawford. You can't talk about them until Sunday because you said you wasn't going to talk about Spence versus Crawford until Sunday, so you gotta honor your bet. You gotta be a man of your word. You can't talk about no damn Spence versus Crawford. I'm gonna have to start penalizing you, Howard. Every time you say Spencer Crawford, you gotta pay like $5 or some shit. You gotta pay me like $5 every time you say their names. Samaj says it's fear when you know the opponent is capable of giving you long-term brain damage, them being able to punch so hard. Yeah, listen, you ain't lying about that one. I had a chance to watch Boots do some sparring when I was in Philadelphia. Anybody get hit by that a couple times, you're gonna go in there and get your shit pushed back. And you're gonna go in there and you're gonna, possibly get brain damage. Aloha Bama says, did you ever get a chance to ask Riddick Bowe about the Tommy Morris incident? I did interview him when I was at the Trevor Bryan Dubois fight, but I forgot to ask him that, so I'll have to make a note of that the next time I see him. Yeah, the only way Crawford can win is if he can get Spence to abandon his jab. He's capable of doing that. He's more than capable of disarming the jab. He's more than capable of not just that, but I think even beating Spence off his back foot, counterpunching him and things like that. Because we know Earl's going to want to come forward and use that volume jab, and then once he gets inside and plant those feet and then deliver the biggest body shots he possibly can. That's his MO. That's what Spence does. That's what makes Spence Spence. And that's what makes the fight so good. You're going to have, the sniper versus the 9mm. Because that's what it is. And maybe not 9mm. What's like a better gun than a 9? Like what's a better handgun than a 9mm? Like a sharper, a better gun. I don't know. I'm not a gun expert. Andre Ward learned the hard way dealing with the promoter. Andre Ward, the person, is better than both these dudes. I don't know none of these dudes in real life, so I can't speak on that. All I can speak about is them as the fighters. So, now, if you want to talk to me about Angelo Leo and Isaac Chamberlain and Tanisa Estrada and Philip Hergovic, I know them personally, so it's different. They're all good people, but I can't talk about those guys. The Brotherhood says, the Desert Eagle. There you go. It's a sniper versus a Desert Eagle. That's what Crawford versus Spence is. There you go. Do you think this is a stylistic matchup is close to Hagler versus Hearns? No, because I don't think Terence Crawford isn't as much of a long-range fighter as Tommy Hearns. He's more of a mid-range fighter. But I would say that, Spence does have like the volume of a Hagler. He has the volume of a Hagler, so he's going to come forward. This to me, I'm trying to see what fight does this remind me of? I really see it more closer to like Leonard versus Hearns, honestly, more than Hagler. In my opinion, I see it more as Leonard versus Hearns than Hagler versus Hearns. But I'm hoping it's more. If it does happen, I'm hoping for more of a Hagler versus Hearns type of a fight because obviously, as you guys know, that's a more exciting fight. So yeah. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Make sure you smash that like button. Let me know where you're watching from. I want to see how international we are on this broadcast. See who we got here, see what's going on, see where everybody's at. You know, I'm in South Florida. You know, I'm in South Florida as always, the greatest place in the world. No other place I'd rather be. The place where the sky is blue, the palm trees are always beautiful, and the grass is green, and the women are pretty. You know. Dungeon Talk says, salute True School Sports. It's my first time in your live. Team Spence here. Okay, hey, shout out to fans of both fan bases, man. You know, if you're a Spence fan, if you're a Crawford fan, or if you're just a regular boxing fan, you know, I think we're all in agreement. We all want this fight to happen. We want these guys to meet in the middle as soon as possible so that the fight can happen for the fans. Welcome to the live. Welcome everybody, new and old. Welcome new subscribers, new viewers, old subscribers, old viewers. You know, it's the home of boxing, man. Make sure you guys join us Saturday for the Teofimo Lopez live when he fights Pedro Campa. Shout out to Florida for the no state income. Yes, sir. No state income tax. You know. Let me see. Hyro says, Marlon Sterling versus Virgil Ortiz. I got Ortiz by KO by 9 rounds. Marlon Sterling chinny, and he's going to fade. You out of your freaking cotton picking mind, Hyro. You're crazy. You are crazy. There's no way in hell that Marlon Sterling would fade. That's not what he does. Not in his prime. South Florida is the greatest place. Quit rubbing it in. It's a great place, man. I'm blessed. And you know, I went to Key Biscayne the other day. For those that know Key Biscayne, man, what a place! It's like a San Diego in South Florida. It's ridiculous. Brian Romero, New York City. Shout out to the whole New York, all the boroughs. You know, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, everywhere. Got mad love for New York. When do we get the next American boxing gold medalist? Yes, sir. When we get the American next boxing gold medalist, when we get the next real pay-per-view star, I have no clue who the next American gold medalist is going to be, but it better be soon because the boxing is going to be outlawed from the Olympics after this Olympics. So an American man better win the gold medal next time. Otherwise, we ain't going to have a gold medal fighter for forever. You know. But, you know, that's one of the reasons why I really feel like even though American fighters still have a big stronghold on the world championships and boxing in general, I really believe like American boxing ain't what it was for a couple reasons. Number one, boxing is more globalized, more countries are competing in the Olympics, but also America has performed extremely poorly in the Olympics in comparison to, you know, the days of yesteryear, you know. Brandon House says, salute to the new channel. Salute, I'm new to the channel. Jamil Parker's my guy. Jamil's my guy too. I got mad love for Jamil. Jamil really went out of his way when I was in New York to show me love and invite me down to Philadelphia. So he's coming to South Florida next week. I will do my best to give him the same in return. Great guy. One of the best channels in boxing, YSM Sports Media. Make sure you go subscribe, giving you guys the lowdown on all the latest and greatest in boxing in Philadelphia and in boxing in general. So shout out to him. Ghost says, side note, ABT, did you see the Arian Lopez? No, I haven't yet. No, today I'm gonna do it. Tonight, because I got things I gotta take care of today. I gotta go to the gym. I got an interview on another channel that I'm doing. Somebody's gonna interview me. ITR Boxing. Shout out to Lukey. I'll be on ITR Boxing later on today. And then I gotta finish watching the Pro Box card from a couple weeks ago because I started watching the Ray Beltran versus Cesar Francis fight on Pro Box. I got like halfway through it and then I never had a chance to actually finish it, so I'm gonna do that. But I'll watch it tonight. Who do you believe will win? Honestly, Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford, too quick, too sharp, just a little bit better than Errol Spence, but. You know, it should be a good fight. I think the challenge for Terence is going to be definitely trying to get rid of that piston-like volume jab of Errol Spence. And for Errol Spence, you know, his challenge is going to be not having a lapse in his defense because if he's not careful, he can get hit with a big-ass counter and get really hurt. So it's a really great stylistic matchup. But I got Crawford. Shoreline Washington, shout out to you. Yes, sir. Shoreline Washington in the building. Washington State. No, boxing won't be banned forever, but for the foreseeable future, because of what happened with Tony Yoka, and they had the McLaren report that came out, If you guys don't know about that, it was like a scandal that happened in the last Olympics, which basically went to where they fixed the Olympics for like Tony Yoka to win. That's why this is all happening, along with all the other bullshit that's happened in the Olympics over the years. No, I know where it's at. I've seen it in my DMs, Ghost. It's in my request. I just gotta go. I gotta look at it. Yeah, shout out to everybody here, man. Is 35 years old for boxers who have the style that move? LOL. It's an honest question. It can be if the fighter is taking a lot of punishment, if the fighter has been in a lot of tough fights, it can be. I don't think. Look, I think Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, in my opinion, I could be wrong, and I would love to be wrong. I hope this fight's the best fight of all time, and we get our money's worth, and the fight happens, and people can be satisfied. Okay, but personally, I just really think that that Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, or Terence Crawford, I should say, and Errol Spence, they've already done their best boxing. I don't think they're gonna box better than they've already boxed before, but we'll see. Hopefully, it can happen. Bud has to get a knockdown or a KO in 5 or he loses. Brendan says, you're as old as you feel, bro. Well, if that's the case, if you're as old as you feel, then I'm still 18 years old. And you know what? If I tell people that, some people think I'm still 18, but I'm 27, so. American fighters, let me see. American fighters, where is he? Ghost says that the American fighters have a hole in approach because of politics and lack of opportunities for other nations. There are 3 to 4 18, 27-year-old Cubans in the pros now. The real takeover is the Cuban one. Man, ain't no takeover anywhere. The great fighters come from everywhere. You know, you got great fighters from Uzbekistan, Cuba, obviously America, Mexico, you know, Nicaragua, Scotland. There's great fighters from everywhere. You know, there's always going to be jockeying for position, but nobody's taking over the sport. Shout out to my man Pugilism. He says Keyshawn is in the Bud School of Boxing too now. Discipline is the only thing that's tested. The opponents don't matter if the discipline matches the talent, and Norfolk got a good one. I think so. I like Keyshawn. I think this might be an unpopular opinion, but I already think Keyshawn Davis is a top 15 135 pounder already. I think he's at that level already, which is kind of crazy because he's a prospect, but I think he's at such an advanced level of boxing that I look at him in that light as a guy that you could say is already, you know, there's lack of fights, you know, top 15 in his weight class. Let me see. Who do you got in the Eubank versus Ben fight? Well, I'm picking. Man, I'm going with Eubank, man. Eubank's not old. He's not past it. I think Eubank, you know, he used to be a 68 pounder. He's big. He's a bigger, stronger guy. But I'm rooting for Conor Benn. I want Conor Benn to win the fight because I don't like Chris Eubank. I think Chris Eubank has wasted a lot of time in his career. I think Chris Eubank has spent way too much time this calendar year trying to fight these damn welterweights. And when he should have been trying to fight the Demetrius Andrades of the world and guys like, you know, Johnny Beck or Munguia or just the top Charlo. I remember there were talks in 2019. There were talks, Showtime, because if you remember, they had Eubank fight Matthew Korboff on the undercard of Jamal Charlo versus Dennis Hogan. That was December 2019. And there were some preliminary talks about them fighting, but the fight never materialized. I think COVID and the pandemic had something to do with that. So it's like, man, that's the fight I really wanted to see was Jamal Charlo versus Eubank. So, but yeah, and I want Conor Benn to win. I think it'd be better for boxing if Conor Benn won, and I just like him more. I like him more. I don't see anything special about Keyshawn. The hype is premature. Free Andy Cruz, absolutely. Free Andy Cruz. We need to get him. We need to get him in the. We need to get Andy Cruz in the pros. Now I'm gonna say this: a lot of people are making a big deal about Keyshawn Davis, and some people are making a big deal about Bruce Shushu Carrington. These are good young fighters in the top rank stable. But for my money, the best top rank prospect or the guy that I believe has the highest ceiling is Abdullah Mason. That's the guy that people need to start talking about a lot more. Is Abdullah Mason. I think Abdullah Mason is a fighter that you look at him. He didn't have the longest amateur career, but he had a long of enough amateur career to make he had a long of enough amateur career to make an impression to get signed by Top Rank. He's been sparring with Shakur Stevenson regularly. I think his body's going to mature. He's going to be a welterweight at some point. He understands distance very well. Can punch with every hand from every side out of the southpaw stance. Just a really good fighter. Really good prospect. Like, really good. World champion, no doubt about it. Potential multi-divisional world champion. Charles Pickett says, explain to us about the 3-fight deal for Bud Crawford. I've already explained it, but I'll say it again. I've already explained it. It's in the beginning. It's in the beginning of the live. PBC offered him a 3-fight deal for $8 million. They offered for the first offer. I guess Crawford didn't like it, so then they upped it to 3 fights, $14 million, with the $8 million guarantee in the second offer. And then I was also told that PBC is not going to go higher than 3 fights, $15 million, so that would be a $9 million guarantee at max for Terence Crawford. That's what it was. But if you want more on that, just go back to the beginning of the live, because I explained it in pretty great detail. Right now, I'm just freestyling it now. So I'm just going through the comments and seeing what y'all got to say. Dang, great live is long. Like, I'll get off work now. Well, good. I'm glad. I can help the work day go a little bit more quicker for you. Mason is a special fighter. My man Shala knows. My man Shola Ibofa knows. He knows about Abdullah Mason, and it's not even just him. Like, he's the guy getting the most hype because he's on the top rank. There's like 4 more of them. All right, Amir Mason, who's the oldest, who I think is probably from the ones I've seen box. I've only seen 3 of them box. The other 2 I haven't seen box. But out of the ones I've seen box, he's probably the most explosive and the most physically strong. Really good fighter. You got him. So you got Abdullah Mason, Amir Mason, Ibrahim Mason, and then I can't remember the other 2 names right now. There's so many of them. It's like the freaking Jackson 5 of boxing. It's like Michael Jackson and Tito Jackson and all of them. So. The USA, hold on, let me see. The USA next gold medalist is normally, Andre Ward wasn't a pay-per-view star per se, but most of the time when an American fighter wins a gold medal, they become a star. Big star. BT, are you keeping up with Tito and Ernesto Mercado's 19-year-old, I believe, the Olympian for Nicaragua, the one they robbed that American for the Olympic spot? I know of him. I've heard his name. I wouldn't say like I'm actively like following him like that, but I know of him. Don't sleep on Troy Isley either. Top ranked middleweight prospect. Good fighter. I like Troy. Troy's a very good fighter. He has I'm gonna tell you guys this. I know the talk this week is gonna be about Teofimo Lopez and his return and whatnot, and Xander Zayas on the undercard. But if you guys want a good sleeper fight, I'm gonna give you guys the sleeper fight on this weekend's card. All right, there's actually 2. There's actually 2 sleeper fights, but for me, I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you one sleeper fight on this card that you need to look out for. The sleeper fight on this card for Teofimo Lopez and Pedro Campa is the fight between Troy Isley and Vic Tony. Very good fight. Now, Vic Tony, I'll tell you guys some stuff about Vic Tony. Vic Tony's a very strong, solid, durable guy. I believe he's I think his record's like 6-1-1. 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. I think he's got like 4 knockouts. His only loss of his career came against Sebastian Fundora, but a very good fighter. A guy that has had promotional and management issues and if he would have had a more active career, he probably would have had to be further ahead and he might have actually been better. But very good fighter. I had a chance to watch him spar. Can box southpaw orthodox, big frame, naturally strong. I think it's probably the first guy Troy Isley's fought that has the kind of strength to match him. So that fight is interesting. Funny enough too, like me and Vic Tony, we go way back. Me and Vic. Vic back in 2019, Vic actually asked me to manage him, and I turned it down because I told him I didn't have the resources to be a boxing manager. But I've always followed his career, and I wish him the best. Really good fight. Troy is a very clean boxer, very very well schooled with the amateur pedigree. We saw in his last fight with Dante Stubbs, he beat the brakes off of him. So I like this fight because Vic has a bit of strength. Vic has some skill. Vic has a little versatility to him. So Troy Isley will obviously be the favorite, but I think Vic will go. To me, I look at Vic as a live dog, and if Troy Isaac can go out there and beat the shit out of Vic Tony, then that would be another statement on his very young resume. You know? Is this offer real? Listen, guys. Anything that comes out of my mouth is real. I don't come here to lie. So it makes sense. So it makes sense what Bud and his team are saying. That's disrespectful if it's true. It is. I mean, listen. Three fights, 14 million, 8 million guarantee, 4 million or 3 million for the other 2 fights. Those are the numbers. That's where we're at right now. Maybe it's changed since yesterday afternoon, but at the time of yesterday afternoon, when I got the phone call from a very reliable source, and I was given great insight to what's going on. You know, that's where he told me they were at, and they're not gonna go above, 3 fights, 15 million. So, yeah. But pay-per-view numbers are low. His fan base doesn't support, like they say. That's bullshit. His pay-per-view numbers are low. You're not wrong about that. But if we're talking about tickets, he sells tickets. Terence, when he fought in Las Vegas, it was hard to get a ticket for Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter. Do you feel like David Morrell Jr. is ready for Benavidez, or he needs more development? I would personally like to see David Benavidez. I want to see David Benavidez or David Morrell, I should say, take a fight or two more. But if he had to fight him now, I think he would be good enough to belong in the ring with them and give himself a chance to win. David Benavidez is the best right now. Why is Charlo running? Man, let me tell you something. Benavidez is a fantastic fighter. I think Benavidez should get his opportunity to get the big fights. Listen, Jamal Charlo want to fight anybody. So it's not a Benavidez thing. It's a Jamal thing. It's more of a Jamal thing than it is a Benavidez thing. I've been saying it for the longest time, and people think I'm being a hater. They think I'm being like... They just think I'm talking out of my ass, but I really think David Benavidez is wasting his time at 168. He needs to go and move up to where he should have moved up years ago and fight Artur Beterbiev. He had a chance to fight Artur Beterbiev years ago, and then he didn't want to fight him. But that's where he should have went. Shout out to Philly, Georgie Bent, and Sweet Pea are what sparks boxing down here, and will carry over to Keyshawn, Norfolk, to Philly and back. 757 athletes all day. AI and the Sixers. Mike Vick and the Eagles. Okay, Chip. Hey, shout out to Philly. I like Philly. I had a chance to go there recently for the first time. I love Philadelphia. It's a real fighting city, real boxing people. Can't wait to go back. Much love to Philadelphia. Jamil Parker, Greg Hackett, Jaron Ennis, Bozy Ennis, Rob Acosta, Izzy, La Loba Lopez. All the people that I met when I was in Philly and talked to. Yeah, that's the reason why Bob Arum let him go. Bob Arum let Terence Crawford go because he lost money for him on all the fights. You guys remember what Bob said? He said, Crawford, I could build a house on Beverly Hills with the money I lost on Crawford. Have there been non-citizens in the USA non-citizens represent the USA in the Olympics? Nah. From what I can remember, everybody who's represented the USA has lived in the USA. De La Hoya, Ward, Floyd, David Reed, Calvin Brock, Shakur Stevenson, Errol Spence, Marcus Brown. I mean, they all live in America. They're all citizens. So was the 3-fight deal? Hold on. So was the 3? Wait, hold on. Where is it? Where's Dundada's comment? Shout out to Dundada. Where's Dundada's comment at? So was a 3-fight deal? So was the first 3-fight deal have Spence fight? Or no, the first fight was a Spence fight. Because the first fight would be the guarantee, the high guarantee. So it is a Spence fight. Yeah. Man, what a live though, huh? What a live this has been. It's gonna be interesting to see the what happens and how they if the fight gets made or if they up the offer or if they just give Crawford a one-off. Personally, I just think they should give Crawford a one-off or give him no more than 2 and let it be for 2 Crawford Spence fights, and then that's it. That's what I think, but don't matter what I think. It don't matter what BT thinks. Nonconformist says Buddy's going to have his hands full with EJ. He's going to get knocked out messing with Jamel. Yeah, knockout artist, baby. We're going to see. We gotta get through this whole fiasco, which has taken forever for us to come to a fair resolution. But it is what it is. Errol Spence made us wait 5 years to clean the side of the street, and this is what they offered. Yes, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. He cleaned up the side of the street, and then he went the easy route, as he said, and this is where we're at. So, I just want this fight to happen, like I've said many times. I want this fight to happen or not happen. Don't really care who wins, even though I think Crawford will win. I don't really care who wins. I want Jaron Ennis. I want Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz to get their spot, to get their shots at greatness. Spence is going to destroy Crawford. Crawford has been avoiding, but I'd rather not get into that. This is me. If there was ever a live to get into it, this is a live for it because we here. Benavidez don't go up to 175 because he will lose his massive size and power, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's easy to fight at 168 against 54 and 60 pounders and bring them up, and then a couple of guys, there's one or two guys that maybe don't want to fight you, or the deals can happen because your manager wants too much money, and then you can say these guys don't want to fight me, man. These guys are fucking pussies. I put them in the hospital, but that's not the reality. The reality is, Dave Benavidez, I don't know what's going on with him and Samson and the management, but there's a disconnect. Because I think Benavidez wants the big fights. I think it's Samson. I think it's him. All due respect to the great Samson, the great manager Samson, but he even said it himself. Like Samson said it himself. Samson said it in an article himself. He said, what did he say? He said, these are his quotes. He said, I had Sergio Martinez and I had to give him up to another promoter. I had who was it? Sergio Martinez, and I had to give him up to another promoter. He had all these different fighters and had to always give them up to another promoter. But now Benavidez is like under sole control of Samson Boxing, so he's not going to be so quick to just throw him in any fight just because the fans want to see it, or this is how it goes. This is how it goes. I'm just telling y'all the honest to God, unbiased truth. It took Usyk, Canelo, Joshua, and Taylor 1 year to become undisputed. It's taking these guys 5 years. Yeah, we're going half a decade now. We're going half a decade. Conor Ben and Chris Eubank is going to happen before this fight. Absolutely. I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give this fight a 40% chance of happening. BT, so is the multi-fight deal negotiating for holding the fight up? Yes. I think it's not just the 3-fight deal, but I also think that it's the $3 million on the back end, because if they're giving them $3 million on the back end, like $3 million for the second fight and $3 million for the third, then that means that the second and third fights probably aren't going to be Spence. They can't be, and if they are, then that's bad. And if they are, and Crawford knows that, then that's horrible business on PBC's part. Yeah, he won't be able to bully anyone at 175. Most of those guys can't fight going backwards and forwards, plus have good amateur experience. I think those champions would be too much for Benavidez right now. Well, I wanted to point something out. If you go look at Benavidez's most recent interview during the Danny Garcia-Jose Benavidez fight week, they actually asked him about fighting Artur Beterbiev. And when he talks about Plant, Charlo, all these guys at 68, he says, they're pussies, I'll knock them out, and I'll put them in the hospital. But when they asked him about Artur Beterbiev, he said, he's a great champion, and I respect boxing, so I want to go through the ranking system. Completely different energy. Completely different energy. And you know what? After what you saw, what Beterbiev's done to Joe Smith Jr. and everybody else, can you blame the guy? I don't blame the guy. Like I don't blame the guy not one bit. Artur Beterbiev, one of the most dangerous men in boxing, point blank period. One of the scariest men in boxing, point blank period. One of the most skilled fighters in boxing, point blank period. He's the real deal. Everyone was that. Let me see. He says, Charles says, Spence's weakness is fighters going at him like how Brooke and Porter did. Bud hit harder than them, advantage of Bud exposing Spence. Listen, when that fight happens, I'm telling y'all for years how it's going to play out. And if it happens, it'll play out. I think Crawford will win. If not, then congrats to Spence. But I just think Crawford has a little bit too much tools in the toolbox for Mr. Farmer Spence, So, yeah, man. But it's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're going on We're going on 2 hours. All right? We're going on 2 hours talking about this. You know, this live has definitely been one for the books. So y'all keep them questions coming. I see y'all talking about Boots and Virgil and these type of things. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you're watching from. If you really like the channel and you love what's going on, feel free to super chat, and I'll get to your super chats. And if you want a Cash App, the Cash App is right there. That's my Cash App right there. $, just a kid from Dania. I'll leave it at that. So if y'all want a Cash App, y'all can go ahead and do that, and that will help me, continue to produce that world-class content on the channel. Nathan Cano says Canelo's overrated. Man, that's how you feel? That's how you feel, champ? He says, "What's the intel?" But on Crawford Spence, I can't tell you. I can't tell you who. So listen, you don't reveal your source. That's not how that works. Just you can do with the information what you want to do. You don't gotta believe me, but those are the numbers. Like, I'm not begging for anybody to believe me. Don't. By all means, don't. Andre Ward would beat Canelo's ass. I actually think Andre would beat Canelo, believe it or not. I think he would have beat Canelo if they were to fight. If he would have taken Andre Ward in his prime to fight Canelo in his prime, I would pick Ward. Even though Hyro, I can't. I was never the biggest fan of Andre Ward. Honestly, Boots is finalizing a fight right now would be the only thing to keep me at ease while waiting for Spence versus Carr to be confirmed. I mean, I hope so. I mean, listen, I don't think so. There's been a lot of talk about Boots potentially fighting Styonus, which I think would be an ideal fight because Styonus is like a top. He's just like Boots. He's a top young guy, highly ranked, undefeated, hungry, just like Boots. Strong, sturdy, can box a little bit, coming off of a good win against Bootsiev. That would be an ideal fight for Boots. But I'm of the mindset. I think Styonus is probably gonna fight Cody Crowley next. Boots, maybe Rashidi Ellis because he can sign PBC. That could be an option. There's a lot of options out there for. There's a hell of a lot of options out there for Boots. There's Rashidi Ellis. Maybe there's not. I don't know. There's not a lot of options for Boots. So Boots might fight another no-hoper. We don't know. You see, maybe cherry-picked a few here and there, but definitely not overrated. Canelo has done great things and has the best resume in boxing. That's facts. He does not have the best resume in boxing. That's the most ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous falsehood that people keep spewing out the side of their mouth. There's no way in hell. Listen. Canelo accomplished some great things in his career? Yeah, he has. He's been lineal champion. He's been in great fights. He's done some things to pat himself on the back and to talk about, but I don't think he's. I mean, to me, what he's done in his career, I mean, it's not better than what Usyk has done in his career. It's not better than what Roman Cholatito Gonzalez has done in his career. And that's what it is. He doesn't have the best resume. No. Why would he have the best resume? Why? Why? Tell me. Everybody always says he has the best resume. Why? Because he fought names that have big names? He fought guys who have big names? Okay, he fought guys who were established big names, but he didn't fight them when they were like at their best. Like, he does not have the best resume. He has you can say he has one of the best resumes, but he don't have the best resumes. I've checked his resume. I could tell you about his resume. I've made videos about his resume. I know the Canelo resume inside and out. His American debut was against Larry Mosley. He fought Leonardo Tyner. One of his first fights. He fought what's his name? Vasquez. What's his name? What's the guy's first name? Vasquez, the guy that became champion. Vasquez, like when he was like 15 or whatever. His American debut was against what's his name? Matthew Hatton. I know his resume. Like, you're not talking to someone who doesn't know his resume. Because I know his resume as deeply as I do, I know it's not the best resume in boxing. And to be honest with you, I'm not even sure who has the best resume in boxing. I have to really sit down and think about that one, but I just know it's not Canelo. I know it's not Canelo. This guy is a hater to Canelo and Benavidez. I mean, normally when people are kind of soft and they don't know how to process information and they're very intellectually dishonest, they like to throw the word hater around. So That's kind of why you're doing that. I actually don't hate Benavidez. You could say I hate Canelo because, I haven't been the biggest fan of the guy in the past. I let go of it a long time ago, though. I don't hate the guy no more, I'm actually rooting for him to beat Golovkin in the third fight. But Benavidez, I like Benavidez. I just think it's ridiculous when people say that he's the most feared fighter in boxing. That's a joke. Nobody fears Dave Benavidez. Like, he had a chance to fight out to Beterbiev and didn't want the smoke years ago. And if I have to explain that, if I had to explain how he had a chance to fight out to Beterbiev, then you weren't really following your boxing back then. Canelo got the best resume in boxing. That's a fact. Absolutely not. No, he does not. What's his best win? What is Canelo's best win? Please. Golovkin? Did he really beat Golovkin? Most people disagree. Many disagree that he beat Golovkin legitimately. That's why they're having a third fight. They're having a third fight because he never really. There's a big truckload of people out there that believe that he never ever legitimately beat Golovkin. Name 3 fighters that can beat Canelo. Artur Beterbiev. One of them already did it. Dmitry Bivol. Demetrius Andrade. Plenty of guys can beat Canelo. I mean, around those weights. Doesn't mean he's a bum. Anybody can get beat. Benavidez, Beterbiev, Bivol, Zotto potentially. All those guys have a great chance. All those guys have a great chance. I think Canelo would destroy Benavidez, honestly, but I give Benavidez a shot. He beat Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs was overrated. Daniel Jacobs is one of the most overrated fighters on that resume. Jacobs had already lost to Golovkin. Jacobs had mastered the art of losing and looking good. Jacobs has always been overrated. That's why Jacobs later on went on to lose to John Ryder, who was a better 168-pounder than him. Jacobs, come on, bro. Jacobs, that's what you're doing? You're going to use Jacobs? Mosley? Come on, man. You and I both know Mosley was coming off of losses. Like, come on. You're just going off the names. You're going off the fame and the names of these guys. You're not actually going off of like what state they were actually in when Canelo fought them. Because to be honest, one of the most overrated wins on Canelo's resume is Jacobs. Jacobs already been knocked out by Parag. Already lost to Golovkin when he tried to come in with a weight advantage, and he's even lost since. He lost to John Ryder. Come on. You and I both know Jacobs was never quite as good as advertised. Canelo would box circles around Benavidez. I just put Canelo in the term box circles in the same sentence. Man, that would be some shit. He probably would. Probably hit him with one of them big ass body shots. Jacobs is a solid win, but let's not go down his losses. Talking about Jacobs. Well, no, it's the truth though. Like you're saying this guy has the best resume in boxing, so you're saying he's the gold standard of boxing, and then you name Jacobs as one of his best wins. So I'm just telling you what Jacobs was before Canelo fought him. Doesn't mean Jacobs sucks. Doesn't mean he's a bad fighter because he's a world class, world level fighter. But beating a Daniel Jacobs ain't as good as beating Juan Francisco Estrada like Cholatito did, and it sure is only as good as beating Marat Garcia, Marius Briedis, Anthony Joshua the way Usyk did. So come on. Let's be real. Who wins, Bivol or Zotto? That's a tough one. This is probably one of the toughest fights in boxing to pick. This is a great fight. I really hope they finalize this as soon as possible because I will go to this fight. I'm actually more excited about this fight than I will be for Crawford Spence. I think Bivol has the potential to outbox Zotto. The only issue that I think he's going to have in this fight is that Zotto is such a big guy for this weight class. So if there is no rehydration clause and Zotto can rehydrate to his normal 200 plus pounds, 199, 205 pounds, if he rehydrates that high, I'm going with Zotto. I think Zotto will probably get his ass outboxed for 4.5 rounds, and then around round 5, 6, 7, Zotto gonna go in there and he's gonna find Bivol and he's gonna hit him and he's gonna hurt him and take him to some deep dark places. But great fight though. I could see Bivol go in there and put it on a masterclass. But I would lean personally towards Zotto. That's just me. I would actually go with the upset because I know Bivol will be the favorite. I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Zotto. The district says 3-fight deal with 14, no fight, insult that man's intelligence. Well, that's why, guys. See, look, that's why instead of the fight being finalized with black ink with contracts. We got it penciled in for November 12th or November 19th. They don't even know which one it is. They say November 12th or November 19th. So, yeah. Boxing Gem, what's good, champ? Hope all is well. Make sure you guys go subscribe to the one and only, the often imitated but never to be duplicated Boxing Gems. You want to learn about boxing and the science of fighting, that's the place you got to go to. That's what I'm saying. Zurdo Ramirez is a heavyweight fighting at 175. We know that Bivol is going to rehydrate on fight night to maybe like 180 plus pounds. Bivol or Zurdo I should say, will be 200 plus. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really, really tough fight for Bivol. How true is that figure? Oh, it's true. In my Kurt Angle voice. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. So, we'll see. We'll see now. Maybe now that the actual numbers are out there, we'll get an announcement soon. I want to get an announcement, man. Like, let's get an announcement soon, because it's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the fans that they're being played like a fool with this fight. Fix Electronics says, I seen Bivol in person in Atlantic City. He has the best footwork in the division. I had a chance to watch Bivol fight Cedric Agnew on the Kovalev Ward undercard. I was at that fight. And, shit, man. Yeah, his footwork is next level. So it's going to be very tough to see, how... It'll be interesting to see how Zurdo tries to cut the ring off. Yeah, he's a weight bully. See, it's funny. Everybody's quick to call Zurdo a weight bully. But then when you call Dave Benavidez weight bully, people say you're being a hater. It's the same shit. Dave Benavidez is a weight bully, and and everyone loves him. Everyone loves Dave Benavidez. So why can't Zurdo weight bully? Everyone's doing it. It's happening at all. Weight bullies exist on all levels of boxing. And you got Zurdo being a weight bully. You got the Valle brothers on Pro Box, the Puerto Rican brothers. They're big as hell for their weight class. Everyone loves them and says they're the next Puerto Rican this and the next Puerto Rican that. So call a spade a spade. 14 million for 3 fights straight up, or 14 million for Spence and obviously for 2 fights. No. It's 14 million for 3 fights. Boxing Gems. It's So you weren't here earlier, so I'll run it down again for like the 10,000th time because I want you to know. So what happened was yesterday I got a call. I was literally sitting here because I bought a PlayStation 2 recently, and I was playing some good old Max Payne on PlayStation 2, and my phone started ringing. So I got a phone call from someone yesterday, and they told me they said BT, and it's someone that's like extremely close to PBC. Like he knows like a lot of people in PBC, talked to a lot of prominent figures in PBC, and he told me that they made Crawford. The first offer was just a straight slap in the face. It was a 3-fight deal worth $8 million. The second offer was a 3-fight deal worth $14 million, with the Spence fight having an $8 million guarantee, and then the other fights being $3 million and $3 million. And then what I was also told, Boxing Gems, is that PBC is not going to go higher than 3 fights, $15 million with a $9 million guarantee. That's what I was told. So those are the numbers. I've been telling everybody you can take that information and do with it what you want, but that's where we're at right now. Maybe since yesterday there's been some progress and now they're at a better place, but that's what I was told. I'm not one to make these kind of videos. I'm not one to like make up false rumors. Like that's not my style. That's not how I operate. I'm only saying this because somebody very reliable told me this. So, so. Yeah, it'll be a good fight. Look, I think Zurdo deserves his chance because people always say that Zurdo Ramirez hasn't fought nobody. So we gotta let Zurdo get his chance. And if there was ever a division in boxing that needs, I'm talking about a division that desperately needs undisputed, I think it's 175. We need to have a star in that division, like a crystal clear cut star. And I think undisputed will help do that for us. Negotiations take forever. Offer and counter offer for now. That's what's gonna happen. So he's taking a loss from Top Rank. Crazy fam. I hate the number shit too with the whole thing. It is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Because I was told, isn't the Top Rank loss like 11 million? And then, so he wouldn't really be making much. I don't know. Who cares? I mean, like, Make the fight happen. Just make the fight happen because I want to be able to talk about the fight and get excited and talk shit to the Spence fans and get excited about Terence Crawford because I haven't been excited about Terence Crawford since November. Johnny Beck would destroy Canelo. Damn. We'll see, man. I want to see Johnny Beck versus Andre. That's the fight we need. Terence beats Errol Spence, but don't trust PBC if the fight is close. Well, listen, come on, man. If the fight is close and it goes to the cards, we know that the guy that's the more politically connected, the more politically connected fighter is going to get the decision. That's just how it works. Are there any top fighters you see Ryan Garcia beating? Yeah, there's one. People may not like it, but I legitimately think Ryan Garcia will beat Gervonta Davis if they fight. I actually believe that. The reason I believe that too is because Gervonta Davis, I know for a fact, doesn't have the best punch resistance. You saw a couple times in that Woolley fight when Woolley touched him that he don't really like when them bullets come back at him. That's why I think Mayweather Promotions have been very cautious with how they've been matchmaking him against guys who are in smaller weight classes. Also, another reason why I would give Ryan Garcia a good chance against Tank is because if they ever fought, is because he's not a Ryan Garcia is not a high volume guy, but neither is Tank. So I think what that fight would come down to it would all just be about like who would land their shit first, like who would land their big punch first. Would it be the left hook of Ryan Garcia, or would it be the uppercut of Gervonta Davis? Personally, I think the left hook of Ryan Garcia gets there before Tank's uppercut, and I think he stops him. They fight. That's just my opinion. But I'm not really like the biggest Ryan Garcia fan, but I think he would beat Gervonta Davis. Because Gervonta Davis, everyone says Gervonta Davis will blow Ryan Garcia out, but the reality is Gervonta Davis don't blow anybody out. Even when he knocks guys out, whether it be Santa Cruz, Rolly, Barrios, all these different types of guys, Tank is known for losing 3 rounds every fight. The dude loses 2-3 rounds every fight. So I think it'd be a very competitive fight. BT, we have never seen Tank hurt. He hasn't had balance issues after getting hit. Pitbull hit him clean a few times, and he had no issues. I don't see. Okay. I saw when Rolly hit him. The first thing he did was tie up and panic when Rolly hit him. A couple of times with a few shots Rolly hit him with. Just Rolly didn't have the crap to close the gap on Tank and let his shit get off. But a guy like Ryan Garcia would, and I've seen enough. I've seen enough with Tank to know he gets hit by the wrong puncher, he's going out. Yeah, but they're both flat-footed, and neither one of them throws that many punches. It's a very winnable fight for both guys. Very winnable fight for both guys. It's a damn near pick 'em fight. Let me see. Floyd lost rounds. No one lost rounds. Ryan will be in the hospital. Okay, well, if Tank wants to get that close to Ryan, he's going to have to get past that big-ass left hook. So if he gets touched with that, good luck. Good luck. Because I don't care. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. I'm not the biggest Ryan Garcia fan, but like anybody who gets touched by that left hook flush is going to get hurt. That's what it is. Fight News knows the deal. Like, he knows the deal. He knows boxing. You can tell Tank is chinny by the way he's been moved. He has. And listen, not to talk too much, but like, I won't say too much. I just know Tank. I know Tank don't got a granite chin. He ain't George Chavallo. He's not George Chavallo. He's not Danny Garcia. He's liable to get hurt. That's why he's fought Jesus Cuellar and Hugo Ruiz and Leo Santa Cruz and these type of guys. Because they're safe opponents with names that Tank can look good against. And the people who don't watch boxing, they're gonna see that they're not gonna see that this guy fought smaller guys. They're just gonna see that he got a knockout, and the profile will continue to increase. And that's what's happened. It's been all strategic by Mayweather Promotions. Cobra James says, I love your platform. Keep it up, bro. All right, absolutely. Gonna definitely keep it up. Got some really good things planned in the works, so definitely stay tuned. Does Ryan Garcia have a soft jaw, bro? I mean, he got dropped once against Luke Campbell by that overhand left. But then since that fight, in his 2 fights since then, he's made the adjustment, and he hasn't got caught that shot again. So, does he have a soft jaw? Listen, any boxer who gets clocked on the chin can get folded up. They both, to me, Tank and Ryan are both liable to get knocked out. They both can get knocked out. I'd say Canelo's protected and overrated, but then that's 90% of all the top boxers. That's very true. That's why, like, I don't know, last couple months with this Crawford Spence thing, seeing the Benavidez bullshit, like, I've kind of had to calm down on Canelo. Like, yeah, he ducked Demetrius Andrade, and yeah, there's been a lot of messed up things that have gone in his favor, but like, the whole sport in general needs a what's the word I'm looking for? The whole sport in general needs some adjustments. You know, there's a lot of fighters that are inactive. There's a lot of fighters that are being ducked and avoided and protected, and all for bullshit. And because of that, fighters are not developing properly, and the sport, you know, if you look at all these fight, if you look at the top fighters in boxing, a lot of guys are inactive. They both have bad chins, though. Okay, Tank hasn't been dropped because Tank has barely fought a 35-pounder. He fought Barrios. We give him that. Barrios is a 40-pounder. A weight-drained 40-pounder, but a 40-pounder nonetheless. But for the most part, Gervonta Davis does not have a chin like that. And if you can be honest with yourself and get past the hype, get past the hype and hoopla and the names, just look at the guys he's fought. Like, look at the weight classes in which they normally... He was going to fight Abner Mares. Like, come on, guys. Let's not be foolish. Gervonta Davis, more so than most fighters in boxing, has been in a witness protection program. Straight up. There's no way about it. I'm not saying that he's the one that's doing the ducking, but like, Leonard Ellerbe and Mayweather Promotions are going to protect him like the plague because he's the only money-making attraction that they've ever produced. Besides, ever. They have the only other champion that Mayweather Promotions has produced in the last couple of years would be, they had Badu Jack a couple of years ago, like 3-4 years ago, and they had Angelo Leo. That's it. And neither one of those guys are huge ticket sellers. So they're going to protect this guy. Gervonta and Ryan are both ducking. I would agree more with that. I think I would agree more with that. They're both ducking that fight. Everybody is ducking. Because we're at in boxing. Nobody wants to take a loss because boxing fans a lot of times are fickle. A guy loses and then he ain't shit no more. Unless you're like Gabe Rosado who's like blood and guts every fight. Then it's different. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, Gervonta Davis is 27 years old. He's getting closer to 30. He's going to have to, at some point, fight a big name. It don't matter if it's Ryan, T.O., whoever. But are you suggesting that Tank is a weight bully? Are you suggesting that Pitbull isn't a puncher? I got Pitbull beating Ryan. Pitbull will get knocked out cold by Ryan if they fight. I'm willing to wager anything on that. Ryan Garcia will beat the living shit out of Isaac Cruz. Is Tank a weight bully? I mean, yes, he has been in the past. Yes, he has. Are you suggesting that Pitbull isn't a puncher? No, he can punch a little. He can punch a bit, but I would say his punching power is a little bit overrated. I mean, if you just check under the hood and you look at the resume of Isaac Cruz, he's never really been a massive puncher. If you look at when people started calling Isaac Cruz the Mexican Mike Tyson, that all stemmed from when he fought Magdaleno on the Gervonta Davis undercard. He got a first-round knockout against Diego Magdaleno. But if you look at all the fights in his career, whether it be against Thomas Matisse, whether it be against Matias Romero, Francisco Vargas, I mean, a shop-worn, shot to bits, Francisco Vargas took Isaac Cruz the distance. Excluding the Tank fight, right? If you look at excluding the Tank fight, from his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you start from the Thomas Matisse fight on up, right? No, that's 4 fights. 1, 2, 3. So if you start from the Miguel Angel Perez Aspuro fight in December of 2019, his last 5 fights, Isaac Cruz only has 1 knockout, and that was against Diego Magdaleno. He didn't stop Miguel Aspuro. He didn't stop Thomas Matisse. He didn't stop Jose Matias Romero, and he didn't stop a shop-worn Francisco Vargas. So I think Isaac Cruz's punching power has been greatly exaggerated. Doesn't mean he can't punch. It doesn't mean he's Michael McKinson, and he's feather-fisted or Parmanaji, but I don't think he's no Mexican Mike Tyson. I think that was all something that they used to kind of prop him up and whatnot. Ryan would not be Pitbull. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Man, Pitbull Cruz could barely beat Thomas Matisse, and you want to see and tell me he's going to be Ryan Garcia. You don't got to like Ryan Garcia. You don't got to sit here and think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because personally, I don't think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I know he ain't losing to no fucking Isaac Cruz. Hell no. Because you guys are saying Pitbull stops Ryan Garcia. Pitbull doesn't stop anybody. Who does Pitbull stop? Pitbull doesn't knock nobody out. And if you don't believe me, if you think I'm just talking shit and being a hater, let BoxRec tell you. Let BoxRec tell it best. All right, now, let BoxRec tell you Isaac Cruz ain't as big of a punch as you guys think. Let's look at it. Don't take my word for it. So he fought a complete shot to bits. I'm talking about extremely shop-worn Yukiyo's Gamboa, and he stopped him in 5 rounds. So okay, cool. But if you start, look, he didn't stop Tank. But if you look at the build-up towards the Tank fight, look at this. Look, decision, first round knockout, decision. A lot of guys take Isaac Cruz a distance. He's strong. He's got great work rate. He can wear you down and wear you out. He's that type of fighter. But to talk about Isaac Cruz like he's some big knockout artist, it's actually like, it's a joke. It's actually a joke. Ryan Garcia will knock him the fuck out if they ever fight. I swear to God, if they ever fight, Ryan will Romero Duno his ass. It'll be Romero Duno, Francisco Fonseca 2.0. That's what it's going to be if they fight. It'll be more competitive, of course, but I'm saying that the result will be the same. Pitbull is not going to go anywhere beating the elite fighters because his defense needs work, and Mike Tyson had better defense. Mike Tyson had better defense. Mike Tyson was quicker. It is disrespectful to Mike Tyson to call him the Mexican Mike Tyson. It's ridiculous. BT, it was poison Gamboa. Gamboa is taking the legal route right now. I can send you the sources. Is that a thing? Send me the sources. Pitbull couldn't even KO Gamboa without the... Yeah, look, I like Pitbull Cruz. He's a fun fighter to watch. Definitely great for the division. Great for TV. I respect him as I respect all fighters. But I'm not going to sit here and listen to people tell me that he is something that he's not. He's not no big puncher like that. And y'all, this guy barely knocks anybody out. Like, look at... I just showed you. He's barely knocked anybody out at the elite, decent world level of boxing. But you're telling me he's going to knock out Ryan Garcia. Get the fuck out of here. No, it's not happening. It's not happening like that. Maybe he would drop him. I can see that. That's always a possibility, but I don't see him beating him. I would have Ryan by UD, but not by KO. Maybe a body shot. No. He's gonna stop Isaac Cruz. I'm standing on what I say. Isaac Cruz is going on his back if they fight. Look, guys, I've had a great time talking to you. It's 3:24. It's 3:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got other things I gotta take care of today. So look, I hope you guys enjoyed the live. It was definitely one for the books. I appreciate all the support, but I'm gonna wrap this up. So before I end the live, let me first start by saying thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Thank you for everybody who comments, both good and bad. And definitely join us this Saturday for the live fight reaction with Teofimo Lopez and Pedro Campa. It's Teofimo's return back to 140. It should be a lot of fun. Those live fight reactions are always fun. And I did make like 4 YouTube videos today before I went live, so those will be out. There's other stuff scheduled. There's a lot of content on the channel. If you're new here, go check out the interview archive for like Riddick Bowe, Holyfield, and Don Turner, and all kinds of people, all kinds of interviews if you really do some digging. But that being said, hopefully this fight can get done and all parties involved can find a number they like, and we can get an announcement soon, because we need to really get to a place where this fight can happen for the sake of boxing fans and things like that. So I'm gonna get out of here. You guys take care, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.